So every week I come up with an intro for Trick or Treat Radio. Something witty, something topical, something funny. But this week, I forgot to do it till right before Johnny pointed at me just now. So welcome to Trick or Treat Radio.
Welcome all you little zombies. You are listening to Trick or Treat Radio, starring the Deadites.
Welcome to episode 98 of Trick or Treat Radio.
Oh, we are closing in on 100. This is exciting.
That's right, and we might have found a format for 100. We're not going to reveal it just yet. We're waiting for a couple things to happen.
Is it going to be? Let me guess. Is it going to be audio?
Yes, it'll be audio.
Oh, man, that's
thank
my
God.
favorite one.
We're going to record in a WAV format, and then we're going to transfer it to an MP3 at the
That's
end.
awesome. We have a ton of practice at that.
You're on
That's going to
fire
be really
tonight,
good.
Tiny.
We're gonna do our radio show in sign
He
language.
literally is on fire.
More is less, Tiny. More is less.
Raven Chow, you looking for him?
Yeah, I see him.
We can't hear you when you don't talk into the mic, you know.
I can see him.
Or
I
when
can,
it's not
use
on.
Next, hello?
Yeah.
Oh, when it's resting in the holster.
It's on.
Yeah.
You should be able to hear your own voice.
Oh shit! Wow, this is radio magic.
It's like,
Expecto Patronum.
yeah.
All right, well, Trick or
Now
Treat
you know my nightmare.
Trick or Treat Radio is a phantasmagorical spin kick straight through the heart of pop culture, navigated by the Deadites. The Deadites are the world's greatest electroshock band. We destroy monsters, we drink booze, we win championship belts, and we've been known to live in a crime scene from time to time.
Nice.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Little accident here at the,
Is
at the
there
castle.
actually like spilled blood over there right now?
Yes.
Yeah. Did you ever see
Really?
American Psycho?
You know they make towels for that. They make paper towels for that.
When,
I actually had to clean up one before Tiny Wife left. Just the other day.
Oh, she left you?
Blood out. Yeah, she for a couple days. For a couple days.
It's like OJ was here, for Christ's sake.
Well, here's the story. So, once again, somebody left the door open, and a werewolf just happened to wander in.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't have any silver bullets, but I honestly was just throwing knives at him, and I missed most of the time.
Yeah.
There's knives sticking in the walls. It's pretty bad. It was actually kind of pathetic, I have to say. I think
What kind of knives were you throwing?
This whole story is kind of pathetic.
butter knives.
Yeah,
Those,
no,
those are good,
those
right?
aren't balanced for throwing. No, that's not gonna work.
There was a couple ones that were sharp.
Okay,
Like,
yeah,
steak
those are the
knife?
IKEA ones, right?
Yeah, there's a IKEA one. There's a steak
yeah,
knife.
the IKEA butter knives. Yeah.
So I got him a couple times, and then Ozzy, little dog, scared him out of here. So I think he's dead. I think.
But
I
where
can,
did the blood come from?
from
Then
the,
afterwards he stepped on a nail.
there may or may not have been a nail involved.
Nice. Yeah.
Why don't you leave the monster hunting to the
I didn't
professional
try.
monster hunters?
Fucking
That's not
werewolf.
actually hunt.
Yeah,
that's not
Yeah, but
actually
you could-
hunting.
he was hunting me.
You could have called.
It's like defending yourself
I did.
from a deer that wanders into your house.
I did. You said you were busy.
It was a monster.
Well,
You were on the can reading comics.
Yeah, well, finish the ink cow. That was good.
There you go.
Monster Zero, were you reading comics?
No, I wasn't.
Why not?
I just don't.
Why?
I don't know.
You don't read comics? Why?
No.
I want you to tell, specifically the one that I cited, the listeners, what comic you read that turned you off. Now, this goes with that philosophy that all writers and all publishers have to remember, is that every comic that is published every single month, both digitally and as a floppy and in trade, is somebody's first comic.
Yep.
So in the glut, and in the end of the glut, in the late 90s and the early 2000s, when people were just putting out shit, a lot of people that might be fans now got turned off because they were reading books like...
Daredevil.
No, not that one.
Punisher.
Name the other one.
Oh, Punisher was really bad at that point. Like, he turned into a werewolf.
Oh,
and
no.
stuff.
That was the one where he was the angel,
He was
right?
an angel.
Oh,
Yeah.
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 Oh, so you're reading that? Okay,
Which,
so...
to be fair, Bernie Wrightson drew it.
Sure.
And,
But what was the third?
What was the third?
Bish.
Bishop. Yeah,
Yeah.
Bishop. Oh, and I also read Battle Pope, too.
Okay,
That was good. That guy is writing everything now.
Eric Bishop.
Isn't that is that the Walking Dead guy or is that
Lance
the Avengers
Hendrickson,
guy
I think it was.
who wrote Battlepope?
I don't remember. No.
No, it's one of them.
I'll check. You guys talk.
Rick
I'll check.
Remender?
No, it's not Rick Remender.
Rick Reminder?
You know what?
Rick Reminder.
Another thing that he would like. I just got a. I'll let him borrow this. I just got.
Oh, it was Kirkman.
I just got a giant.
Holy shit! I read that back in the day.
It's great. I
Kirkman
just got a.
and
Oh,
Yeah.
Tony Moore.
There
'cause
it
that
is.
was- they worked on that and the feud.
Yeah, I just
Yeah.
got Hickman.
Yeah.
I get Hickman and Kirkman's name juxtaposed all the time, which is
Yep.
funny because they're very different
Yeah,
writers.
Battlepoop with a psychic Jesus.
But I would say that though it was a good comic, especially the first couple issues before Quesada wheeled him in, is that Kevin Smith's Daredevil maybe not the best first comic book that you could read.
Well, that was the
fine.
first comic that I ever did read, so I had nothing to to make that judgment on.
It was great, and it all turned out great. But like he wasn't a comic writer, and he just wrote a lot. There's a lot of words in that particular one, and the beauty of comics is it says it's right as you turn open every comic. It's words and pictures, and if you break
What?
that
What?
if you break that blend in any direction, you could just look at art or
Yeah.
read books.
The Incal was close to that. We talked about that a little
Yeah, yeah. Well, and it was. I don't think that. I think I would have. I think the Incal would be, and I really liked it a lot. Don't get me wrong. I enjoyed it quite a bit. Jodorowsky, Mobius, by the way. The Incal. I suspect we'll be talking more about that soon. I did like it, but I think I would have loved it if I spoke French.
I didn't like. I liked it.
If you spoke French, what do you mean?
If I could have read the original dialogue, the original script, I think I would have enjoyed it more.
Jodorowsky's original script?
The original, like we read an American translation of it.
Yeah. But his would have been in Spanish.
Okay, Spanish.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, no. Didn't I think it was a French comic though?
It might have been, yeah.
Yeah,
It
I'll have
certainly
to check into that. I mean,
definitely feels like one.
Mobius is French, right?
Moebius.
You mean
right?
Moebius?
Moebius bien. But Monster Zero, Michael Ravenshadow put this out before. I'll give you the option because you're gonna do this for the show, and I don't give a fucking shit what you say. Okay?
You never did before. Go ahead.
I didn't. Though if I do this, I will stop pulling out and coming on your wall behind your bed.
Well, it's about time. I was wondering
so-
who was doing that.
I just got a big Rick Redeemer. Remender, I think is how you say his
Remender,
name. He's one of my favorite writers right now. I'd love to have him on the show. He's a dream guest. He
He's a dreamboat.
wrote a bunch of. He's kind of handsome, dude. He wrote a bunch of horror comics early into his stint. One of them was called Red Sea. It was like a pirate comic. I've never read that.
It smelled.
It was a,
So it's unread C for you?
yeah. Yeah, I hate you. But another one was a cool zombie story about zombies invading a porn set called
Triple X
Zombies.
That's a story.
Yeah.
That's a story right there.
Was it? Is that Axel Braun joint?
Should be.
It was very good. So he also has written some recent horror stuff that you would like. But I suspect what you really should read that will change your opinion on comics is Preacher.
Preacher.
Yeah.
It is everything that it's Quentin Tarantino, Robert Rodriguez, Stephen King,
I've heard of Preacher.
all rolled up into because we talk about
talk
it
all the time,
incessantly
yeah.
on this show.
All of us have read it.
No,
all
no.
rolled up into one funny book.
Well, I mean before this. I mean, I remember
Sam
Preacher
Peckinpah.
before all
Denny's.
this.
Yeah, it's a quintessential Western written by an Irishman. There's everything you love: blasphemy, sodomy, ebony and ivory. I mean, there's a vampire Cassidy who's right out of Near Dark.
Yeah.
All
truly.
right. All right.
Doesn't have the fangs, doesn't have all the typical tropes. Like you for real would like that.
Actually, I got a better idea.
There's chicken fucking.
Yep, there is chicken fucking.
There's fish fucking.
You're going to take this home right now, okay? And you're going to take this home with realistic expectations of what it is. I don't want you to think that you're getting War and fucking Peace because it's not meant to be. I'm giving you the equivalent of a Roger Corman movie on paper right now.
What is it?
This is my favorite comic right now, and it just ended. I meant to talk about this at the end of the show, but it's and I will get some information on when the trade is coming out very shortly. Dark Horse Comics puts it out. It is written by Alex DeCampi, I think is how you say her name, and it is fucking awesome. It is called Grindhouse. Doors open at midnight. This was originally an 8-issue miniseries, and each issue was 2 short Grindhouse films. They were kind of in the vein of what Tarantino and Rodriguez did, but they were more like real Grindhouse movies. If real Grindhouse movies didn't have the limitations of, say, budget. But sensibility-wise, the dumb characters, but they were also clever twists on them. Like this one has all the elements of like an Evil Dead movie and a cult movie, but it also has the elements of a girl biker movie, like a Russ Myers movie. But this is about teenage lesbian girl bikers that ride scooters.
Raven Shadow, jeez.
It all takes place.
Stay on your side of the table.
It all takes place at a all-girl lacrosse camp. And it is called Flesh Feast of the Devil Doll, Part 1 and 2. The back is filled with awesome fake movie posters that aren't going to happen. And I would have I think you would even like the story that happened before this more, which is a rape revenge story, so obviously you'd like it. But I'm going to give you these, and I want you to tell me what you think next week.
Okay.
If you're right about how you read comics, it'll take you about 8 minutes to get through both of these.
So he can masturbate 10 times.
It's like this is a horror movie, a B horror movie, put on film. So it does put on paper. So it does all the things that B horror movies do.
Okay.
So in one breath, this is a terrible representation of comics because it kind of does all the things that are kind of wrong with comics, you know? But it's doing that because it's doing all the things that are kind of wrong with, you know, Corman era or direct-to-video, super low budget, drive-in, whatever your delivery method is of this, you know, trash cinema. This is a 8-issue miniseries made up of trash cinema. These are the last 2 issues, which are each 2 issues are individual stories. It's got demons and truckers and hot lezzies and all stuff that I know you enjoy. Arms getting ripped off. So let me know what you think.
Well, I'll be honest with you, man. I'll read them both, and I'll give you an
honest opinion next week.
honest
Yeah,
opinion.
but it was written for the use of the world. This is, it says it on the top. This is
Written for Monster
This
Zero.
is the
Written by assholes for assholes.
It says, this book is dedicated to all the impotent trolls out there. This is like, you know, your feet will stick to the floor. There'll be a
well, yeah, because he's in his own house. That's
there'll
why.
be
Or I'm in your house.
There'll be you know, there'll be angry African American women yelling at you behind. This is the comic book equivalent of what I imagine going to 42nd Street and seeing these films are, because they're so simple. Now,
I could smell the stale cigarette smoke coming out
if
of
you
Raven
read
Shadow.
them-
No, yeah, that's Raven Shadow.
see, now I don't know, but for me to read them, there's like subtext in there that is like kind of commentary on these films too, and kind of commentary on gender roles in comics as well and in movies, in all of these. But you know, you can enjoy them without reading that much into them.
Right.
So let me know what you think.
I will.
I won't, because I really am like, I started today doing a strong push to try to track that lady down and get her on the show, because she is. I mean, I find anytime, you know, when we talk to Andrea from Wicked Bird Media, I find anytime, you know, a smart, educated woman tackles this type of horror that is usually, you know, kind of based generally in like misogyny and violence against women, I find it really, really interesting, their take on that sort of stuff, and their take on being a fan of horror, because let's be honest, there's not, I mean, look at what we watched this week. You know, if you want like the 80s slasher cycle, which there's been hundreds of books written about, you know, the way women are treated in them, like, have nothing on some of these Asian cinema things, and it's a lot more offensive in a weird way because it's so casual. It's so offhanded. So I would be excited to talk to her. Jessica Cameron, another great example. Look at the films that she makes and the stuff
Yeah,
that she's
sure.
into, and almost the antithesis of your average American horror fan. If you look at the table right now, anyway. So,
And the Saskas.
no, sure. They're,
You like them.
I think that they're made out of the devil, though. like, I'm not quite sure that they're real.
Well, we have Double K hanging out. What's up, K?
Oh,
Double K.
shit.
Said, hey, fellas.
Oh,
Hey,
Sook
buddy.
is sooking now.
We got Rocky hanging out in the chat room. We got the SL.
Real? Ooh.
Good times. Mike Ledger's
I
not
am
going to be able
still
to make it.
mad at the SL, by the way. I won't go into why, but I'm fucking furious at her.
Well, we have to cram the rest of the intro in here because we have lots of stuff going on tonight. Let me go ahead and introduce everyone, and then we'll get to what's going on tonight. I am Johnny Wolfenstein, the pencil pusher and producer of media for Trick or Treat Radio and the Deadites. We also have the immortal gunslinger, singer, and lyricist for the Deadites, Dynamo Mars.
Hey, everybody. How you doing?
The katana-wielding, synth-collecting, mask-wearing composer and songwriter for the Deadites.
This is me, right? Is this my part? I want to get ready.
That's you, Mr. Tiny White.
Hi, everybody.
I'm glad you were ready for that.
I wasn't.
Worst thing you could do is tell us to rush.
Shit, you sideswipe me with
Yeah.
that.
We have the chain-smoking, hand-kissing, baby-shaking, hot-pocket-loving, comic book-reading nerd, and the official smoke machine for the Deadites, Michael Ravenshadow.
Oh, you got the peaches and I got the cream. Just saying, I'm throwing it out there.
Do
Trying
not
out some new
ever,
catchphrases. This.
ever, ever quote Def Leppard on that.
Yes.
That's what I heard
Please.
coming over here.
I agree with a few things that Ethan McLufabitz has ever said, but one of them was, and I quote, "I fucking hate Def Leppard. I wish that guy lost his other arm."
Yeah, I'm not a fan, but I just
No, I think
thought-
he said leg. Did he say
Oh.
leg?
I'm not sure.
Oh, okay. Lost something. We also have the vulgar guru of horror, member of Morbid Vision Films and contributor for Horror Hound magazine, Monster Zero.
Sweet to taste, saccharine.
Jesus.
You're not a music guy, but you know those fucking lyrics.
He loves
Def Leppard. I
Leppard.
love
He
Def
loves
Leppard.
Oh my God, you are a tragedy.
I like Def Leppard before he lost his arm.
Def Leppard lost his arm?
Is
Yes.
that guy's name Def Leppard?
Yes.
Yeah, it's like, that's the
Well,
name of the
so-
band.
was it
It's
like-
So not only is the leopard deaf, but he also doesn't.
What's his
missing
name?
an arm.
Is it Rick Allen or
He
something?
Rick
gets the-
Allen.
He gets the
Yeah.
park. That leopard gets the park close to where the gazelles run.
Yeah, it's not like it's like where's GI Joe? No, GI Joe is the code name for the team. It's the group.
No, Tiny has G.I. Joe.
It was originally actually there was a guy named G.I. Joe.
Joe Colton. I know
Yeah.
he was the original, but
Double K says he's got the peaches, we've got the scream.
ooh, I see what he did there.
And he also said, oh shit, happy early birthday, Wolfie. Thanks, Double K. It's also Monster Zero's birthday, day before mine.
Yeah, thanks a
Ooh.
lot, Double K.
He doesn't care about you.
Yeah, I guess not.
Rocky says, you going to let him refer to it that way, Tiny? Emasculating.
Yeah. What was that? What did I miss? I don't let anyone emasculate me. No one emasculates me. That's a rule.
I'll
That's a
emasculate
rule.
you.
That's like rule number 5 in my book. No emasculating.
Hey, Tiny, did you just get a Facebook message or a Google message or something?
It's possible.
You should turn off all your sounds.
You don't want to know. You don't want to know about that.
Well, you could be having some hot sorted, online interaction. I don't.
I was just about to get into a chat conversation with somebody over there to blow this.
Some hot
blow the
Facebook
whole
sex.
thing
What is it? You're gonna ask someone for their age, sex, and location. ASL.
That's funny.
Is that what that is?
Yeah, you didn't know?
Oh shit!
ASL, age, sex, and location.
Come
Yeah.
on,
Yeah.
that's a fucking band.
I thought he
name.
said. Hey,
Holy shit, you're right.
I thought he said "Hey SL," so I thought. He
That's what I'm thinking. I'm like, I want
Oh.
to read a book.
yeah. I do.
Rocky says 225, unsure, currently in hell. That's his ASL.
Shit.
Oh, and Double K's birthday.
Oh,
Oh, who cares?
Oh,
What?
Double K, when's your birthday?
I care.
And SL says ASL.
Yeah, I learned.
Ah.
I learned something important. Never ask the SL where she is while you're
Oh.
having a text conversation with her.
Double K's the 13th, Friday the 13th.
Nice.
We got MZ is the 14th,
14th.
and mine's the
Wow.
15th.
Oh shit.
Shit.
So are you? I'm gonna miss it all. But you guys doing anything this
I don't know.
for your birthday?
I
I'm
don't
gonna
know.
miss it. Wolfie's got a girlfriend now, so he's not gonna want to hang out with us on his birthday.
What does that mean?
It means that you're gonna get laid for a change instead of hanging out with us,
Yeah.
who have had girlfriends long enough that we will not get laid.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
It's a bell curve.
Apparently, Grandizer Funk and Jub Jones. birthdays.
Really?
Yeah,
Nice.
yeah,
Who
yeah.
the fuck knew that?
Who do you think?
Oh, the
Oh,
Facebook.
yeah, right.
Wow, those guys are both on the 13th. That's
I knew Granddad's of Funk's birthday was this weekend. Because nothing went on for the last 3 weekends that I had off, and now all sorts of fucking crazy shit's going down.
Mm-hmm.
I could
Alright.
make myself free Sunday though, if anybody wants to get together and do
You
it.
gonna give me a free Sunday?
No,
I'd
What
banana
kind
split.
of fixins?
Yeah, what kind of fixins are we talking here?
delicious.
Delicious fixins.
All right, and so tonight on tonight's show, episode 98, we have some cool stuff. We're going to talk about the film. We're continuing the. Oh my God, this is a crazy scene going on. I'm watching the movie in the background.
You ain't seen nothing yet.
Okay, we're continuing the listener picks month of June, and this month or this week, the film was picked by our good buddy Luan Tron.
Woo!
Luan picked The Seventh Curse, and we'll be reviewing The Seventh Curse by I can never say his name correctly. Nam Noi Choi. Nam Noi. I think that's it.
I thought Tiny was in this movie
Tiny is in this movie.
because there was a character in it called Black Dragon.
Yes, and
Yes.
Yeah.
so we're going to talk about that, and also we have a special treat. We're going to talk to. This is going to be interesting. The man that Monster Zero insulted a couple weeks ago and said he was a hack director. We're going to talk to Paul Bunnell, who directed The Ghastly Love of Johnny X. He's going to join us to talk about the stories behind that film and also just filmmaking in general. We had a quick interaction. He's a really cool guy. So he was. I mean,
I feel bad.
we did sort of tear him apart, especially MZ.
Not you. You liked it. You
No,
liked it.
I
No,
didn't.
yeah, you
Yeah,
liked-
I was
yeah.
the only person that liked it. But
I think
mean,
I would say in the tear apart echelon of that review rating, it's MZ
I think
Tiny
Tiny,
White,
yeah, and then you,
me,
and then
and
Raven Chow
Shadow
just
was
didn't even
kinda-
say anything.
Yeah, he was kind of. She was once again.
What'd I
there's another
say?
fucking nothing.
you don't even remember.
That's my favorite shot in the movie. So
So it was fucking cool of him. He contacted
Yeah.
me and was like, "Hey, if you guys want to, talk about this, like, I'd love to just come on and talk to you guys about it." So
Maybe I can come over there and fucking talk to you in person.
yeah, he's gonna show up at the castle.
Wolfie, can you just look at the screen at what's going on right now? My favorite thing of that.
Okay.
Oh my god!
Is that the little ghost?
You've never seen this.
No, I
You've
didn't.
never seen
Are
this.
you saying you didn't watch the movie
Here we
again?
go.
I fucking basically saw this.
I
I didn't see this spot.
I almost saw this movie. It was
No,
awesome.
I got fucking notes.
All right.
It took me 3 hours to watch this movie because I was fucking taking notes.
And you're still surprised by every
Yes,
scene that comes.
yes.
It's amazing.
That's the thing
You're
about
easy to impress. You know that?
That's the thing about surprises, Tiny. You never know.
Shut the
Never know what you're gonna get.
We don't need any more posters this week.
That was pretty good, though. That was a
It
good
was.
poster.
It
Yeah.
was funny,
All right, so we need
Fabio
to.
Freezy's good, nice, good sometimes.
Yeah.
He,
Yeah,
cleans,
sometimes he brings it.
he cleans up
Yeah.
nice, both literally and aesthetically.
I got 2 requests for those autographs right now.
Great.
Nice.
I know one of them's not your wife.
No,
No.
God no. I fucking seen it.
Mhm.
I live with it.
All right, well, we need to cut to a break. We'll just skip all the spiel, the whole thing about the pulling up to someone, listen to the
Yeah,
Trick
yeah,
or
yeah.
Radio. We'll
I've
give
been,
that a
I've been
reprieve.
doing that. I've been pimping it on the in the real life. So
Oh, okay,
if you're friends with me, go find the fib.
that's right. Go find it. The Fib, lots of cool stuff. We actually we're over 200 now. We got like 203, 204 or something.
Nice,
so
yeah.
Shit.
so
I
very
think-
cool of people to join in.
Less and less people selling sunglasses.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah,
But
which
you know what's-
sucks because I actually need sunglasses.
Yes.
You know what's fucking weird about
Sunny
it though?
out.
Like I don't understand this, and it happens on OTC, and I see it in a lot of places. Like, and God bless them because we have the coolest fucking people in the world. But like, a lot of new people. But for every Lutron who interacts, that's
Luan.
new. Luan, sorry.
Lucha.
His last name is Tron. His first name is Lou. We're friends.
Okay.
So, who jumped right in feet first and started interacting. Like, we don't hear from all these new people very often.
Yeah.
They're entitled to
It's
lurk.
yeah, it's
Yeah, they can
probably
lurk.
alienating. They're probably afraid Ledger is going to berate them, but
We probably lost whoever that was. Was it like Space Ghost or something that was on last week, Tiny? You've scared them away.
Yeah.
They were in the Google Hangout and you
Yeah.
fucking scared them.
I did.
You're like, who is this?
Good.
I want to
kinda-
know.
I kind of enjoyed it being feeling intimidating for once. That was
Yeah,
that was
and they fucking
exciting.
left. All right,
Yeah.
well, we have to get right to this. So let me go to a quick break. and we'll be back to talk about the seventh curse.
Do you love a scary story? Do you love to dance? The Big Scary Monster Hunts at Midnight is a collection of dark songs about sex, love, death, revenge, and the end of the world. Brought to you by the world's greatest monster hunting electroshock band, the Deadites. Available on iTunes, Google Music, Amazon, CD Baby, and all other digital distribution sites.
I'm Mike Allred. For the gidgiest listening experience, you got to check out Trick or Treat Radio.
Hello, darlings. It's your favorite whiskey-drinking, litigious, singing, dancing fantasy girl. Want to reach out to me and the world's greatest monster-hunting multimedia organization, the Deadites? Log on to Facebook.com/The Deadites. It's got all the info you need to follow the world's greatest monster-hunting band, like live appearances, info on your favorite Deadite, music, and all the links you need to our new weekly multimedia and all our side endeavors. Too many letters on Facebook? That's okay, sugar. Just follow us on Instagram and Twitter @The Deadites. Hope to see you soon, and we'll leave the lights off.
All right, we are back on Trick or Treat Radio.
On cola.
5 fucking assholes.
All right, we are going to talk about the seventh curse. Luan, our boy, recommended we watch this, so we did.
Is he in the chat? No.
No, he typically can't watch live.
Do
so
we know where the fuck he's from? Is
yeah, California, he said.
Okay.
Yeah.
California, California. See the night that kimono wanna lay ya. Danced on top of. That's all I think of. Every time I
Yeah,
hear that
exactly.
song.
Yeah. All right. So the Seventh Curse was released in 1986. It is an action horror movie. It's 78 minutes long. It's a Hong Kong film directed by Nam Noi Choi. It is written by Jing Wong and Gai Chi Yen. And it stars Ken Boyle, Bing Chen Cheung, Maggie Cheung, Chow Yun Fat, and where's the I can't remember the other dude was. Okay, never mind.
It's
it didn't say their name, so I wasn't sure.
It's Chin So Hoon, who was in Fist of Legend.
Okay, cool.
Interesting.
What's funny is he on IMDb has shit billing, but he's obviously the star of this movie.
Yeah.
Right. True.
All right, so the synopsis we have: a young rural cop in the jungle of Thailand attempts to rescue a beautiful girl from being sacrificed to the worm tribe she belongs to. As a result, the cop is damned with 7 blood curses, which burst through his leg periodically. When the 7th bursts, he will die. But Betsy, the beauty he saved, stops the... Oh, fuck. I'm going to stop right there, because,
Yeah.
once again...
Spoiler.
Spoilery! All right, so... Who wants to kick us off?
I will.
All right, Dynamo.
So-
Why don't you go ahead?
So I remember it's 3 a.m., right? I can't sleep. It was during a very bad time in my life. I'm listening to my good friends at the Gentleman's Guide to Midnight Cinema. And during the What We Watched This Week section of the show...
Wait, the two things were mutually exclusive, though, right?
What?
It wasn't a bad time in your life because you were listening to that show, right?
No, that was... I've said a million times that those shows helped me get through this bad time.
There you go.
Um,
There you go.
And one of the greatest humans on the face of the earth, Lodge William, mentioned this movie. And one of his kind of things that he said was that it was more bug shit crazy than Boxer's Omen. And I kind of fucking forgot about it. And then we went. You didn't see this fucking.
I
movie.
did. It's in my notes.
Yep.
It's in my notes.
And then we went. And then we went.
You
know,
have one note. Don't forget to watch the movie.
Then we went a while, and we had my brother from another mother, the original Creep, CDR on, and he was talking about this film, and his kind of brief synopsis of it made me remember. He didn't see it. Michael Ravenshadow did not see this fucking movie. If you all saw how he was reacting from watching.
We're gonna test him on it, just like we did last week.
So, I was really excited to see this. Though this may not have been exactly the Cannonball Run type movie that
Wait, Cannibal Run or Cannonball
Run that Monster Zero was talking about last week. This was fucking pretty star-studded. I'd have to say that most of my favorite Asian action films of all time are really represented. I think a lot of that has to do with that a lot of stock. They pushed a lot of stock Golden Harvest heavies to the front in this one. But Chow Yun-fat is in this, and we all know his resume. Maggie, the super smoking hot Maggie Cheung is in this, who was in probably my favorite superhero movie of all time, Heroic Trio, and its sequel, Executioners. If I'm not mistaken, Maggie was a pop star, and I think this was pretty. I don't know that she had learned. She didn't have very good chops here. I can't say his name, but Chor Young, who's in the Police Story movies, Dick Wee, who was in Five Deadly Venoms for a cup of coffee, and he was in a lot of the Golden Harvest stuff, and he was pretty prolific in smaller, in varying size parts, in like a lot of the Jackie Chan and Sammo Hung stuff. He was in Millionaire Express, comes to mind, and a lot of these people were. I certainly can't say her. Sibeli who was in the Lucky Stars films, and Elvis Sao, who was one of the monks in Boxer's Omen, which is probably only
that would be Tsui.
Sui.
Sui.
Probably one of the only comparable films I would say to this. I think what's so cool about these movies, and a lot of it's for budgetary reasons, is that they break all the cinematic rules of kind of, filmmaking. A good example of this was just on the screen a minute ago, where the doctor finds Black Cat in that very cool
Black Dragon.
Black Dragon, sorry. That very cool hideout that he was in. And all of a sudden thugs just burst in through every door and window and everything else.
Amazing.
If that wasn't an American movie, like all the exposition and the dialogue that went on, you would have saw outside while all these guys were sneaking up.
Oh yeah,
stuff
of
like
course.
that. But like the fact that it just fucking jettisons that sort of
literally like that can of peanuts that you open and a snake comes out.
Right.
That's what that scene was like.
Yeah. Chow Yun-fat is so fucking cool in this movie. This is I love him in a lot of stuff he's in. Like,
When
Yeah, but he doesn't
cool,
fucking.
though.
But he doesn't.
I don't
fucking
know. Have you
smoke
seen
a pipe? He doesn't smoke a pipe while he's delivering lines.
Yeah, I don't
these
know.
other movies.
That's an argument for a different time. But I think that he definitely got kind of uncool for a while.
I don't know. I disagree.
That's each to their own. But as I always say, there are two types of people in the world. There's me and people who are wrong. Like I said, I love Maggie, but she looks so much like my good friend who I grew up right down the street from. Her name is Jessica. She reminds me so much of her, which made this movie even more frustrating because she was as foxy as ever, but like some of her acting, even in this madcap thing, was distracting from shit that was going on. Like, I every time she was on the screen for a little while, I felt like the movie had took like a wrong turn. Like when they were in the hotel room, and he had to like tie her up and stuff like that. And there was a little monologue of, "Oh, I've got a unlimited gold card" and whatever else. And it was just like, stop talking, stop talking.
But I think if that's how you felt, then she played her role well. That was her role.
It wasn't. That wasn't why though. Because she was great as thief catcher, but she had that sort of flippant, like rich girl type attitude. And some of the other stuff that she was in. Do you remember Let me see if I can try. Dickweed from
I remember calling people that
Yeah.
back in high school.
Dickweed?
yeah, from Five Deadly Venoms.
By face, I'm sure I would know him. Let me look.
This is one of the few movies I was reading a little bit about this where he was actually a baby face. He was kind of predominantly a heavy in things, but he was.
Yeah, I know this guy.
Yeah,
he's been in a million things.
Yeah, he was the main. He was the. I forget what the house was. It wasn't the Venom's house, but he was the guy who died, who to kind of set events in motion. He was dying.
He's the guy that died in the Kung Fu movie?
No. In Five Deadly Venoms, he was.
Yeah. Actually, a bunch of them did.
No. All right, fine. Fuck you. You know what I mean.
I'm looking. Hold on. He was he one of the 5 Venoms?
No. He was one of the masters of the house. He was the master of the house.
Yeah. Okay. Right. Yeah. I remember. Yep.
I don't know what version of this film we watched because in going back and watching, watching this and then going back and kind of reading about it, there were I found on Wikipedia there was at least 3 different endings for this.
Is that like the sequel to Wicker Man?
Yeah.
Wikipedia.
Yeah.
Let him go. Let him
go. In the original theatrical release of this, after the monster killing climax, there's another by the pool scene, in which Maggie Cheung's character kind of makes up with Dr. Yoon.
Okay.
In the first video release of it, which was released in Hong Kong during the early 80s and 90s, the late 80s, early 90s, the last 2 scenes were completely cut out. So the very last close-up of Bushu, the native girl, who remains scarred, is replaced with a 2-shot of her and her lover while the end credits go. So I'm assuming her and like Black Dragon.
Yeah.
And in the DVD edition, the second to last scene in the original theatrical version, the original dialogues are replaced with the end title music, which means that they're all just kind of standing there talking while the credits roll over it for that whole thing where they're sitting outside and you find out that the potion doesn't work anymore. Real quick, I saw everybody and recognized all these people, so I did a little more research than I generally do just because I was like, is that who I think it is? Like, I know I've seen him from somewhere, and I was really surprised to see it. But one thing that I didn't know that I found super duper fascinating was that Maggie Cheung was in Inglourious Bastards, but the scene actually got deleted. So I am super curious to see what 2009 Maggie Cheung looked like, and also find out what that scene was. I've never watched it on Blue or anything, so I don't know if there's any deleted scenes there. Tarantino films are notorious for not being very unsatisfying in the special features thing. But I'm real curious about that. That's fascinating, and I love that Tarantino and Zombie do that because it's these guys need to still work. I hear about a lot of these great Asian cinema people that are essentially living off $74 a week now, and they're still working pretty prolifically. At any rate, I loved this fucking movie. I would say this is in the top 10 films that we have ever done for this podcast. I adored it. This movie did everything I like. There was nothing lazy about this movie in the sense where this whole movie could have been just somebody fighting ninjas or fighting monsters, but there was the cool hanging ninjas and different kinds of monsters and
the Shaolin monks defending the
fucking great, right?
Yep.
The punks jumping in the window like just a riffraff, the tribes, like fucking great. I loved this movie.
Yeah.
Awesome.
The Shaolin monks especially, they're like after this knockdown drag out, they must have killed probably 10 of them, and then basically said, guys, can we just have this? And then just okay.
Yeah, which was fucking hilarious. You know what was awesome on this translation too? Anytime this guy was talking about the other tribe or someone else, the translation was their guys.
Yeah,
so it was we have to choose guys.
Yeah.
It's hilarious.
Loved it.
What the skeleton scene. All that stuff was edited together so fast. That skeleton reminded me of the Night of the Creep skeleton, the serial killer. This coffin scene made me laugh out loud. Tiny, did it make you laugh out loud
Yes,
for the same
definitely.
reason?
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely. I wondered if you're going to try to pull it off on the show. But
No. But I was in hysterics.
Yeah.
I definitely still want to steal it for something one day. But like,
yeah.
my special lady friend didn't think it was funny when I said that that's all they needed to save the day was a cough drop to stop the coughing.
Right.
But but all this was so fucking edited together. Like, there was a lot of work in this movie. 1 million police cars just drove down the street. So I hope everybody's okay. The monster in this, the main monster, I guess, was fucking awesome.
Yeah, it was. Actually.
I liked it quite a bit. I liked that it was probably one of the best cats in a suit mixed with puppetry that I've ever seen.
Mm-hmm.
And though the skeleton himself looked a little clunky, like there was some good guy in suit stuff with that. Highest recommend.
The edits with the skeleton though, like just when you think like, oh, that's fucking ridiculous, he'll do like a fucking backflip and stick it.
Yeah.
And you'd be like, what the fuck?
Right.
Holy
Yeah.
shit.
Highest recommendations.
Tiny, why don't you go next? You've been talking, and you're
all right.
you're a
Yeah,
big
I'll
fan
go
of
next.
Hong Kong films, so let's hear it.
Yeah, I'm not going to disagree with Dynamo about this being top 10 that we've reviewed so far. I got a huge kick out of this movie. I mean,
So you're gonna say you got a huge boner?
I did. I had a boner through like 48% of this movie. Like 48% of this movie. No, like, I mean, kind of what I go into a movie for is wanting I just want it to deliver. Whatever it is, if it's the type of movie that I'm going to like, you know what I mean? I want it to just to deliver for me, to surprise me, and to deliver on a couple of different levels, and we're good. You know what I mean? In this, oh my God, this delivered on so many different levels. Tiny's boner meter. Yeah.
I think it's a bonometer.
Yep. I'm gonna give this 48 minutes
Tiny's
up.
bonometer.
Bonometer. Bonometer.
Bonometer.
Oh, nice. But so many good scenes. I mean, I love the effects in this. I loved how just fucking out there it was. Like, I don't know, like, how do you put something, who puts this down on a piece of paper? Like, this is what
It's
they
almost
wrote
like
for.
nobody does. And I unfortunately, for better or worse, like, anyone who's read anything I write from a film point of view, which isn't very often, will confirm the fact, outside of the Jade stuff anyway, will confirm the fact that I definitely use this Hong Kong formula in the sense where I've gone 7 pages and no one's got exploded or tits. Like, I have to make that happen now, regardless of what else is going on in the story.
Yep.
And like, the part that's on the screen right now, TW, is the part where the gorillas run in and fight the monster. That didn't have to fucking happen. Those gorillas weren't like those gorillas. Raven Shadow didn't watch that.
This scene is sort of like the cat. I have to say.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
The little ghost.
We're watching the final fight
Yeah.
scene, right in the studio
Ghost
now.
amazing.
So when those gorillas ran in, those gorillas were there for one reason, Tiny, and what was that?
What's that? What?
When the gorilla, like the gorillas with guns, not gorillas in the mist.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. I remember the scene. To make something explode.
Yeah, to explode.
To explode.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, exactly. It's true.
Like, what are these guys with fucking guns doing here? Oh, well, that guy got his head stomped and that guy got his guts ripped out. That's what.
Exactly. You need more people.
Yeah,
the
they were
people
like,
that were already in the room can't get ripped up.
yeah, because the actors need to stand here in awe.
Right.
You know, until the top billed person that's only in the movie for about 5 minutes shows up and takes care of business.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's like a cut scene before the video game action starts.
SL said no more trick or treat, only boner meter. Bonometer. And Rocky says the bonometer just made him spill his beer.
Nice. But I mean, like, let's just put it on the table. This is a fucking crazy movie. Yeah. Crazy, right?
Yeah.
But within the context of this crazy movie, you have fucking incredible action. I mean, people, that one dude got run over by a fucking car. For real. That wasn't a stunt. It was a fucking manslaughter.
It's bad enough in like the more big budget Gold Harvest stuff and the Chan stuff and everything.
Yeah.
It is something fucking else entirely in this low budget Taiwanese stuff. It bridges on the Indonesian films because there is a legitimate disregard for their stuntmen and their well-being.
There were literally guys like just completely wrapped around the hood of that Jeep. It had to be going 30 miles an hour. The stock wasn't sped up as far as I could tell. They're just like, in this scene we're gonna run dudes over. Like you could tell the director was literally like, before I get too far too tangential here, the whole scene with the worm tribe, like I don't know that I've ever seen another movie short of maybe I don't know that I've ever seen another movie where I have felt like the main characters that early in the movie were in actual peril, like deep dark peril,
Right,
like
which is ironic too because it was a flashback.
Yeah. Oh. Yeah.
Fair enough.
That was.
I agree with you 100%, but like when it got to the end of that thing on the other end of that, you know, if I can interrupt you real quick, Tony, what's fucking
I want to go.
What's fucking great about this movie is that it does a lot of the things that generally fucking pisses us off.
Yeah.
Like a 25-minute flashback, 30 minutes into the movie.
Right.
You know, like.
Yes,
15 minutes in the
The
movie.
fucking end is amazing.
I want to go.
I love that the whole movie is a story. You know what I mean? It's just a guy
Put by
like
this
sitting around
this
with some
horror
girl.
writer guy, you know.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. Yeah, the wrapper of the story is fucking amazing. It's just like these two guys had an amazing adventure. I'm gonna tell you about it. They clink their glasses.
Yep.
The whole movie goes, and then at the end, wasn't that great?
Yeah.
And they clink their glasses.
I want this. I want to see. I don't know if there's any other films made, but I want to try to find some. Like, Chow Yun-Fat's character was like a Doc Savage character, and it was the same character that was in The Cat, just a different
That's
actor
interesting.
playing.
Yeah, kind of so.
You know, so like, it's fucking crazy. You know,
Yep.
like completely outrageous.
It's awesome. The action in this, I'm telling you, like, it's not. We love both Raid movies, right? This fucking action for this little, like this crazy little, honestly, like batshit crazy movie, it's damn close. You know what I mean? Like people are getting hurt and people are getting kicked, and it looks fucking great. Every action scene in this whole thing, all the hand-to-hand stuff looks fantastic, and it's like 3 to 5 guys attacking one person, and it doesn't have that awkward kung fu thing. Like one guy comes in, he gets taken out. The next guy comes. They're all like coming in full speed, swinging swinging machetes. You know.
Yeah, and what's awesome about it is that they framed all the set pieces in a way that there was like physical obstacles and stuff like that. So that it was manageable, I guess. Like, not
definitely.
Not crazy, unrealistic, manageable. Like, I don't know. I don't have enough good things to say about this movie.
I don't even know.
I knew
like,
you were going to like it too.
Manageable is not even the thing. It's freaking genius. Like the fight choreography, and the cinematography to encompass that fight choreography is fucking genius in this movie. It really is. Like you can't do that.
Yeah.
You shouldn't be able to do it that well.
Right.
You know what I mean? Short of Raid, and even the Raid
Well,
stuff.
if you go back and watch like Lucky Stars, even like Meals on Wheels, which is probably the one that like before Rumble in the Bronx, which was most accessible. Like, if you go back and watch the stuff that had like all 3 of them, Project A and stuff like that, Yum Biao, Sammo Hung, and Jackie Chan, like at least the guys that they were fighting took some fucking bumps, and that was kind of the difference between what was going on here and what was going on in the Shaw Brothers films. And that was definitely illustrated here.
The intro is the same as the end.
I'm
So
fucking
good.
ready, man. I'm fucking ready.
Well, let's time to finish.
Oh,
Jesus.
fucking- Let's go.
I'm gonna put it out there. I think that the fight choreography in this is better than either of the Raid movies.
All right, now we have a problem.
Wow.
I know it's bold. It's a bold statement, but here's my justification. In this movie, first of all, there's a shitload of people attacking these guys at any given time. For example, that scene where all of them pop out at the same time, right? But they manage it, and they manage it in extremely believable ways without getting mortally wounded. In the Raid movies, that same sort of shit happens, but at the end of the scene, your adrenaline is up, and you can't fucking believe what you just saw. But in the back of your mind, you're thinking that fight choreography was fucking amazing.
Well,
but in
also
this movie,
the heroes
you're
are
just
taking
thinking
bumps. That's a difference too. Like
in both.
Well,
you know?
more so in the Raid. They don't. There's a lot more back and forth in most of those fights. Then
Yeah, but nobody gets run over by a fucking Jeep. And
no. Well,
or if they do, at least they put a freaking wire on them. Like, I didn't have a wire.
yeah, I don't. Somebody got fucked up in that car chase in the raid too, though.
Oh, yeah, that's possible. But I mean, nowadays it's so controlled. You know what I mean? You know, everybody's gonna be probably safe. You know what I mean? They do it they do it with the intention of keeping everybody safe, but making it look as good as possible.
Right.
This movie, they didn't do it with the intention of keeping everybody safe. They just made it look fucking awesome, and you guys had better like take care of yourselves when you're doing your bumps.
Yeah, I never would have made the raid comparison, but it's really interesting because I feel like this is what Giraffe Evans, is that how you say his name? Giraffe. Like
Giraffe.
Yeah, and that's him too. That's not the guy that made Godzilla. I get them
Gareth
fucking messed
Evans,
up all the time too.
Yep.
Like these are the fucking movies he watched, right? If you watch his short from VHS 2.
I gotta think so because
and like the way it went, like this is what he was watching. He wasn't necessarily watching like the the Rumble in the Bronx or
even the Bruce Lee stuff doesn't seem to have any connection with the raid stuff to me.
So I mean, see if you see the raid and his ABCs of Death, there's a very obvious correlation between what was going on in these. I'm not even going to try to say his name. The guy that made Riccio.
Yeah.
Nam Noi Choi.
What's another thing that's fucking awesome in this movie is that even people who didn't have like any dialogue, like fucking Maggie just fucking crowned somebody with a brick to take her clothes,
which was amazing.
Like,
oh, it was just so good.
We were gonna let Raven
on
Shadow
so many
go, but he
different
left.
levels.
Yeah, I was just about to let Raven Shadow go. He's like,
Let's
I
just let
want
it
to
be
talk.
dead air, and we'll
right.
let him listen back to it.
Okay,
Monsters
that's
Inc.
his spot.
This film, this film didn't really work for me because I'm gonna make up a bunch of words, I'm gonna say a bunch of rhymes, but then the day I didn't really watch it. You could tell by my reaction when I saw the abortion baby fighting and flying around that it was definitely the first time I saw it.
I mostly watched it.
Yeah, I watched this like when I saw Elvis Tsui there. I had a good belly laugh because I didn't see him because obviously I've never seen the film before. When you quiz me, I've got to, I'm going to say some funny stuff so everybody will forget that I didn't watch the movie and nobody will be mad that I wasted their time. Bumbaleo.
All right, MZ, you're up.
Yeah.
Go.
Okay.
My name's Monster Zero. I hate this movie. It sucks. It's bad. It's
let him
stupid.
go.
Will
Let
you
him go.
shut up?
Let him go.
You shut up.
You shut up.
You shut up.
You shut up.
Why don't you both shut up? Or I'm gonna pull out your spinal cords like the ancestor,
Right,
like
and
the ancestor did.
suck the licorice out the
Yeah,
top.
yeah. You know what? This
Literally gonna
movie.
suck out your spinal column.
This movie has a lot of references involved with it, and even inspirations for future films, and that's plainly obvious. I mean, now that I've seen Raiders of the Lost Ark, you can obviously the inspirations from that film into this, as well as
sure.
as well as other films like Demons. I think Demons plays a small part in this, and it also inspired, I would say, Army of Darkness to a certain degree, to a real heavy certain degree, as a matter of fact.
Some of that vibe in it, yeah, it's interesting.
With the way some of the puppet work was made, and actually, and in some ways how the some of the especially that skeleton character looked. The action sequences here in this film are fantastic, and they're like I said, I don't watch these films like a mental patient.
These films,
well, what do you want me to call them? Like Tiny, like Tiny or Dynamo here, but like I said, the action sequences are great. I feel though that the dialogue sequence. What are you laughing at? Oh, okay.
Gotta get blown away.
Okay. I felt that some of the dialogue sequences in the middle, though, kind of tend to drag a little bit, and then just before some big action sequences will kick in, they'll start the dialogue will start to reflect the action sequences that are just about ready to happen. So that kind of gave me a little bit of a lull there for a few moments anyway, but nothing to really deter me from the film. I
Wait,
mean,
the dialogue like we're being attacked, stuff like that.
that starts kicking it up. Yeah, but I mean, there's other scenes of dialogue in it that just kind of like brings the momentum of the film down to a tad bit of a lower level.
I think a lot of it had to do with a lot of these guys weren't. It allows CDR or Will, who's a lot smarter than me. But from my knowledge of this film house and like level of film actors, you will not find a lot of leading roles for like 90% of this cast.
Yeah, that's true. But
Yeah.
what you might be describing though is dynamic. I mean, this movie had pretty good dynamic. For example, you have these big fight scenes, and interspersed with those fight scenes, you have the scene like when she's trying to follow them in the woods, and he's telling her to get lost.
Oh yeah, yeah.
That's a good scene. Like in spite of the fact that it really breaks the momentum of what's going on. Those scenes, I think, add a lot of dimension to the movie.
Right. I mean, but this is like why Madonna, I guess, for lack of a better way to put it, wasn't in Raiders of the Lost Ark, because she's not a very good actress. And this was, essentially putting Madonna in the middle of this movie.
What about Desperately Seeking Susan?
Ooh.
Yeah.
That wasn't a very good movie. Though
What
you
about
did
Shanghai
see,
Surprise?
you did see
What
that
about-
was a
what
very
about
good
Who's
movie.
That Girl? What about
Oh.
Who's That Girl?
Espanita.
Or
Was that,
Evita?
that was a little better.
She turned into a terrific actor, but she didn't
Wasn't
start that way.
there a big cat in that movie too?
I don't remember.
She was in Dick
See?
Tracy. She was the
She was terrific in Dick Tracy.
the
Yeah,
face.
there you go.
She was
the soundtrack of Dick
dick-rific.
Tracy was amazing.
Was she dick Rick?
Truth or
dick-rific?
Dare. The
Truth or
original?
Dare.
She was a terrible actress in Truth or Dare. I haven't seen choreography that stiff since the Jack Ruby movie. Apologies to Dennis.
Let me catch up in the chat room. There's the SL says, "Oh my God, just touch each other's dicks and get it over with."
Who's she talking about? Me and Ty?
Yeah.
You know what?
I think she's talking
You-
about you and Zero.
You know what?
Something
No.
about
Screw that,
fighting.
man. I don't
No.
think so.
You know what? SL does fresh things to herself thinking about us touching our ding dong. So
And then Rocky said, "Can't they just get past the aggression and tension, make out and be happy?"
who are they talking about?
Nice to see. I'm not the only one that notices that.
Yeah.
Who? Are they talking about me and Tiny or me and MZ?
SL says banometer on 0 right now.
Somebody tell me who
Was
you're
that
talking
On
about.
Zero, as in Monster Zero.
yes.
Yes.
MZ and
MZ
No, the
and
motherfucker
Dynamo,
from
she
the
confirms.
producers.
She says MZ and Dynamo. Oh, Zero Mostel.
Yeah.
There you go.
That's awesome.
Thank you. Yes.
Nice.
I'll have you know that there is a precedent set, and anybody who says I would fuck just about anything need look no further than who's on either side of me. I have a hard enough
over
time.
there.
I have a hard enough time fucking their wives and girlfriends, knowing that they've fucked them before.
Who's terrible?
You are.
I'm fucking
Unless,
excited.
wait, hold on. MZ, you are.
I don't even, I'm not even done yet.
Yeah.
I keep on getting interrupted here.
Everyone shut up and let MZ talk.
So anyway,
Furthermore,
and furthermore, and like I was saying before, I was so rudely interrupted.
and another thing.
The film is pretty damn good. I mean, Young Fat is Young Fat. Young Fat is
what the
always
kids
as
in the
always
neighborhood call
is
me.
awesome. Is as always is awesome. Like was said before. Everyone. Chow Young Fat's, he's the star of the film, but there's no real. I mean, as far as name recognition goes,
Yeah.
there's no real star of the film, and I kind of like the idea that just about everybody is like a supporting character, and it gives everybody equal time to flesh out their characters and taking an equal part in this film, and it was a fun film. I did enjoy it, and also there was references to the cat, as it was mentioned before. But I enjoyed it. I thought the wire work was at times hilarious.
Yep.
One scene in particular, I'm not going to mess too many things up here, but one scene in particular is when the guy there's a guy coming out from a cave. What is it? Diagonally. And he gets shot with the gun. He gets shot with a gun, and he gets shot, and he reverbs back sideways again, which I thought was hysterical. It's just
Vagina cave, asks SL.
yeah, and it was just a hysterical scene, and I'm like, this is just too good. Yeah, I mean, yeah, you can't carve it up too much and not enjoy it. It's and the best thing about it is that nobody, at least as far as I could tell, just looking at their performances, nobody took this film seriously. It looked like it was just a fucking blast to make.
Yeah, no.
And I think if they did take it seriously, it would be a hard movie to review. This was it looked like they had fun doing it. They just went. They just went out, did their thing, and the end result is a fantastic flick. I don't know if I would say it's top 10 for me, but I did enjoy it.
What is top 10 magic? 1 through 5 magic.
I pick magic.
Why do you keep going back to magic?
Just because you said that once, you like, I pick magic.
Yeah, so
It was funny.
I think that was the last time I got to pick a movie.
I think you're right.
It's the last good movie you picked. That's
So what
for
the
sure.
fuck difference does it make?
All right, Raven Shadow, you're chomping at the bit.
Yes. Oh man.
So you're gonna have to. Well, no, you can go.
I'm like fucking Noam Chomsky right here.
Oh, we're going to take a break now.
We're gonna take a break. Go.
What the fuck? There's several things about this flick I don't
Wait.
understand.
Did you watch the film?
Because I didn't watch it.
Did you watch it?
No, I would agree with what
Did
everyone
you watch
said.
the
I did.
movie?
I did. I got fucking
You watched
notes.
the whole thing?
Yeah.
Okay.
From
Why
beginning
were
to
you so
end.
surprised with the abortion monster?
Because it's fucking outrageous. What I don't know is what's the main character's name?
Dr.
Is it
Ewan.
Dr. Yoon.
UN?
I wrote
UN
Inspector Young,
Jefferson?
like Jeng.
What?
Jell Joe.
Well, what the fuck? I'm just reading my fucking notes from last night. That was a little bit of a drunken state,
Yep.
but here's my notes. Stream of consciousness. Ready?
Jesus, this is gonna be
Opens
fucking ridiculous.
with an Asian most interesting man in the world commercial. It reminded me of that. And then it picks up with the Asian Lois and Clark.
It's all about fucking beer commercials with you.
Well,
There's
I
Coors Light a couple weeks ago for
That's the
Snowpiercer.
fucking most interesting man in the world. Fucking put that back up. All right. Asian Lois and Clark running amok. Then what the fuck? All hell breaks loose. Phone went off. Oh, Snoop kicked out the window. And the main character has kind of like an Indiana Jones, Detective D, Clark Kent, James Bond vibe. And he kind of was like the Asian Brandon Routh from Superman Returns. Awesome Leia comes home to a gawky white girl. He puts the ip in the pimp, man. Another ambush, head through a table. Blood spell, Sister Betsy. Black Dragon says, stay away from sex or you will relapse. Cut to sex scene and suddenly body problems and gross happens. Cut to mini golf scene in office when Chow Yun Fat is getting asked for advice with Asian Lois Lane.
This is horrible. What are you doing
It's
here?
one of
Wait.
those-
I know what these are. These are notes so that if we ask him questions, he'll
Yes,
be able to look
yeah,
at his
exactly.
paper.
Is that Roas Rain?
But now it cuts to the main character in the fucking jungle searching for an AIDS cure. Oh, Snoop, hot Asian lady, out the water in only a white T-shirt. Witchcraft running amok in the forest. What the fuck? A temple.
I feel like I'm being punished.
No, what the? I think your other reviews are
Wait,
actually
stop.
better.
No, this is what's going on. He's trying to prove to us that he
I
saw
did.
the fucking movie.
SL says
All right,
negative
hold on,
boner
hold on.
meter.
All right. I'm
This is
fucking
terrible.
done with notes. Oh shit, the chieftain threw a demon at someone. Best marionette fight ever. All right, whatever the fuck. It was outrageous.
Okay, you watched the movie. We get it. You watched the movie.
I'm gonna say a bunch of words, put them in a sentence that not gonna make any sense. Maybe if I say enough words, there'll be something that was in the movie. I'm gonna make a beer commercial. This movie was better when it was Drive. Nobody knows what I'm fucking talking about. If I put them to sleep, they won't know I didn't watch it. Oh, Bombaleo. One time. Hey.
The SL said that, Tiny, you're my favorite banometer on like 90.
Oh,
Jesus Christ. Will you stop taunting me?
This was fun. And I would agree with what everyone else said.
Did you? So you did watch this movie?
I did watch it. I fucking
So
wrote it
rewind
down.
instead of just telling us the
Yeah.
plot of the
I
movie.
know, you
like,
just, seriously.
But those are the
instead of just
hotspots.
giving us
Everyone-
snapshots of the
hotspots?
entire movie from
Those are the
beginning
fucking
to end.
hotspots. You don't
You have to, you're looking at a
understand.
fucking weather map?
Yeah, there's fucking demons running amok. They're throwing fucking. There's like basket case or the end
That
battle.
happened. That all happened. But what did you think of the
Yeah,
movie?
Jesus, I
I don't know
know.
what to think.
That's a good. That's a good. That's a good statement. I like that.
It
I
works.
don't know. It was like the end battle reminded me of the end of Tango and Cash. It
Oh
had
my
like a
God.
Big Trouble Little China vibe.
Okay.
Like, you
Can
know
I
what mean?
just can I just get a shout out right here? What about that headshot at the end?
define headshot because
Chow
I have my
Yun-Fat's
computer on.
headshot at the end.
Oh yeah, it's fucking great.
Oh my god! dude.
Yeah, I don't even know.
What a way to fucking finish
I'll-
a bad guy off. You
I'll
know?
tell you this: the Hard Boiled and the Killer would have been entirely different movies if that was his weapon of choice at the day.
Yeah, I'd say.
I think
those close range like cafe fights and stuff.
they would have just they would have just stared at each other in the cafe, and all of a sudden all the windows and doors would have blown off, and just fucking feathers would have been everywhere.
End credits. Yeah.
all day. I think Brendan Fraser's mummy kind of stole a lot from this.
You know his mother?
Oh,
shit.
there we go.
Well, Monster Zero touched on this a little bit. This was
Hey now.
sort of a response to. I think Raiders might have been the first. Star Wars was the first time this happened. Raiders was like the second. Actually, every big budget thing has Jaws on it happened. Now that I think about it for a second, something hit with some degree of success.
Yeah.
And a million of them came back.
Mhm.
There was Indiana Jones-esque television shows.
Tales of the Gold Monkey.
Yeah, Tales of the Golden Monkey, bring him back alive.
Oh shit! Nice. Yeah.
So there was
Battlestar Galactica.
King. No, I wasn't quite from that. There was King Solomon. There was King Solomon's Mines.
Yep. Yeah. True.
Um,
Which we
there-
saw in the movie theater for some reason.
Yep, there's a lot of stuff out. Charles Band put a 3D Indiana Jones type movie out, whose name escapes me now, but it was one of the first movies in 3D in a while.
Mhm.
So much like the sword and sorcery thing we've talked about a few times over the last few months, the Indiana Jones pulp character thing was felt throughout the genre. Now, Sumner, is that his name? The guy that made the Mummy films, who I'm in the minority, at least of the first two. I'm kind of a fan of those films.
Me too.
Those are callbacks to what Raiders of the Lost Ark is a callback to. I'm sure I'm going to get ripped apart for saying this, but in the same way I mentioned that last week, I felt like the Ghastly Loves of Johnny X was kind of a callback to Tim Burton films and not the films that Tim Burton films are a callback to. I think that this is a film that is kind of sucking off the tit of Raiders of the Lost Ark and Temple of Doom, where, while not a better movie, I feel like probably, while a worse movie on every level, the Mummy films are kind of going back to the original source material where Raiders came from, which is like Doc Savage and the Avenger and Justice Inc. So this is, as Monster Zero, was saying about sword and sorcery films last week, the cinema and TV was rotten with these type of movies at the time.
So, all right, I'm going to try to make this quick because we actually have to wrap up. We have a... What was that, Tony?
Yeah, it wasn't me actually.
No. All right. Yeah, we have to wrap up because we have an interview coming up. But one thing I found out is, so Dr. Wisely, played by Chow Yun-Fat in this, you guys, did any of you guys know that it's based off of a series of novels?
I said that earlier.
Word.
Okay. I was still watching some of the movie when you said that.
Because he was in the Cat.
Yep.
He played the same character.
Yep.
But it was a different... Well, no. The Cat was the same character, but it was a different actor.
Yep. So it was played by Wisely, which is funny that Wisely was played by someone named Wisely. But so yeah, in The Cat, which was directed by the same director, Nam Noi Choi, he utilizes some of the Wisely stories, and then also in this one, and of course he was played by Chow Yun-Fat. And there's over 145 Wisely stories.
Wow.
With 136 of them authored by the same person, Ni Kwang.
Which makes him kind of the... probably the Taiwanese Doc Savage.
Yep. Definitely like a pulp hero. That's what it's, categorized as basically. And it looks like there's a few... there's two comic book series, The Adventures of Wisely.
Nice.
Which is published by Asia Pac Singapore. The Legend of Wesley Z. Takes place in an alternate fantasy future. Wesley is a retired warlord who is in a personal war with his son. There was the movies, The Legend of Wisely, The Seventh Curse, which we're reviewing now, The Cat, which we've reviewed in the past, Bury Me High, and The Wesley's Mysterious File.
Let's make that shit happen.
There's also 4 TV series. The New Adventures of Wisely, The King of Adventure, and The W Files, and also Young Wisely. So
I love it.
yeah, there's a
sounds amazing.
pretty big lineage here that's going on with this character, and it's cool because it's not like the Wisely Files, the Seventh Curse or something like that. It's just I actually kind of like that it's not like a major point of contention with the title, So it says I'm just reading something here off of lovehkfilm.com, which obviously features a lot of reviews on Hong Kong films.
That's where I do a lot of my research, by the way, folks.
Yeah, it's a good site. So it just says popular fantasy horror adventure flick. It's spinning off the popular Dr. Wisely pulp novels. This movie finds his pupil, Dr. Yuan, in the lead. And so that's kind of cool because despite Chow Yun-fat not being the star per se, he plays like the main character it's based off of, Wisely. So I think it's kind of interesting. So the one other thing I thought was interesting is that there's 3 endings to this film. I don't know which one we got. I think this is the DVD edition. So in the original theatrical release, yes?
Did this, sweetie, while you're watching the movie.
What's that?
We did this while you were watching the movie.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
You talked about the 3?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Man, I'm just totally out of it.
Which is weird because I'm not 100% positive which one of these we got was kind of my point because they didn't sound like any of them.
I think it's the DVD edition. But yeah, it's just kind of crazy to see. I would like to see all 3 endings.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean the movie's batshit crazy. There's not much I can say, Tony. I'm doing my typical review as you pointed out last week. I could have got away with, but
Totally.
because I saw more of the movie than Raven Shadow did last week.
Yep. You saw the end,
Yes,
right?
yes.
Which was amazing.
But yeah, I mean this movie is fucking crazy. Like there's so much crazy shit that happens, and typically a lot of films like this, these crazy films, just don't have good action. But like you guys talked about, the action's fucking great.
Yeah.
Like it stands up, like you said, Tani. Like I don't know if I'm ready to put it in the same category as The Raid, but I mean it stands up to contemporary action films.
Yeah,
even better than
it's almost awkwardly good. Like I don't know how else to put it, but it's just it's way better than it has any right to be within the context of this movie.
Right, and like the set pieces are awesome. Like the effects, like the practical effects. Like I think most of you guys had mentioned the practical effects are amazing. It's a big surprise. I mean, I shouldn't say it's a big surprise because from what I heard about it, it's this batshit crazy movie, and it's like The Cat, but there's no dog cat fight, but it's just as crazy. But yeah, I mean, like it's
there's no dog cat fight, but there is a little ghost fight.
Yeah, there is
versus the
fighting
demon.
a demon. Yeah,
racial connotations to this absurd statement is not lost on me, but like let's call a spade here. That was an abortion monster, like right down to the right down to the.
Oh shit! Oh my god! The making of that. Do you remember like
the
100 children? I couldn't fucking like. So much of this movie was just so shocking and so surprising. You're just like, oh, they're going to like rescue these kids, and then what happens.
Yeah.
Right.
But you can't really be that surprised having it come from Hong Kong.
Sure, they probably.
Yeah, I know, but like it's set up like we talked about. It's set up like an adventure movie,
right.
like an indie movie.
Yeah, I mean,
an Indiana Jones movie.
Right.
So you expect them to be heroic and like save everybody, and like. Don't save anybody.
Well, I guess. I mean, also you got to figure this came out in 1986. I mean, you wouldn't see that shit in 1986 in American soil.
No,
in American cinema, there's
anywhere.
no way you would see that.
They didn't really show anything that was just like that was gut wrenching or whatever. But the fact that they like,
I'll tell you this:
the fact that they pulled off what they pulled off was pretty amazing.
Yeah, I'll tell you this: the fucking kid grinder in the grappling gun. This fucking movie should have come with Amazon links.
I know the only thing that comes to mind that even closely resembles that is the meat grinder scene in Pink Floyd's The Wall.
Yeah, yeah. Okay.
You know, where all the kids
All
start
in all,
falling
I'm
in.
just a guy with giant balls.
You know what I wish? I think I wish that the movie Human Lanterns was a little bit more like this. I think this is what I expected. Even though I liked Human Lanterns,
Yeah.
and you know there was some really awesome stuff in it, it sort of plodded along a little bit too much.
Yeah.
But this
It was
is,
a
I think,
horror movie at the end of the day.
Right.
You know what
Yeah.
I mean? It wasn't really a kung fu movie.
right. And I
There
think
was some
that
fighting in it, but
you're right. And this has great action. Like that's the thing we were lacking in Human Lanterns. It had some decent stuff, but
I got a bone to
Yeah.
pick with you.
Like I think I touched upon that. I think it calls back to Wolfie what I was saying earlier, where that these films are a little more the Shaw Brothers movies, even in their horror movies, and as sleazy as they are.
Yep.
The guts, which is the action of them, is a little more pretty and a little more choreographed. And in these, they're a little more physical and a little more visceral.
yeah.
You know, and that just makes in this particular movie that just works better.
For sure. All right. Well, let's go ahead to the verdict. And
can I call out one thing that
Please.
slightly bothered me? The main what was it? The main sorcerer, the evil sorcerer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Somebody tell me how he got taken out.
He got dragged. He got eaten by the ancestor.
No, he didn't. He got a freaking chest chop. That's how he got
Woo!
He literally got a skeleton.
Will Ric Flair show up?
Chest chop just to the chest.
No, he got
That was
dragged
how-
into the coffin.
He didn't.
Yeah, he did, and all the blood
No.
came out.
No.
He did.
I got to side with Dynamo. I think that's what happened.
That's kind of what looked like happened, but here's what I saw. He was near the coffin. He fell in the coffin.
Yeah.
The coffin opened. The ancestor's skeletal arm came out, he gave him a Ric Flair chest chop, and then he fell on the floor, and then the coffin started chasing them. Johnny,
I don't
you
know.
got the movie there while we're doing our recap.
Yeah,
You-
yeah.
you-
Okay,
you-
I'll
you take a look at that.
I'll jump ahead a little bit. All right, so let's go ahead and do the verdict.
Trick or treat, baby.
I wonder if people would say you're a trick or a treat.
Trick or treat, motherfucker.
All right. So what I want you guys to do is tell folks whether you think it's a trick or a treat, trick being bad, treat being good, and
Thanks for that.
Is that what it means?
well, I have to remind Raven Shadow and
I'm
and
not
for
the only one.
and for the folks who who may be listening to
True. Okay. Fair
for the
enough.
first episode. That's why. And
Yep.
also give me
How
a
many,
scale
how many
yeah.
boners up is it? Is
Scale
that what
of-
we're doing this week?
scale of 1 to 10 on the bonometer. All right. And any last thoughts you have, Dynamo.
Yep. It's it's by runtime. Didn't you understand that?
Yeah.
it's how long you were hard for while you're watching.
Oh God.
100%.
what's the
100%.
Still going.
Two things that I am super intrigued. Everybody knows I'm a big mark for pulp stuff. I fucking love it, and I'm curious if I don't recall the writer's name, Wolfie, but I'm wondering if he wrote like the amount of books were written. There was 159 Doc Savage novels written over the original run, and the main writer,
Kwong.
the main writer of them was a gentleman by the name of Lester Dent. But they were all credited to the house name of Kenneth Robinson. So I'm curious if there was any. I mean, very similar to early DC Comics where Bob Kane wrote and drew everything. Whether now it's starting to come out more and more that he fucking didn't. But that's a different story. But that I'm really intrigued at. This movie was set up kind of similar to there was a run of Santo films in the early 60s. Santo versus the King of Crime, Santo in the Hotel of Death, and Santo versus the Diabolical Brain. Which I have not seen these films, admittedly, but I'm a big fan of the Talk Without Rhythm podcast, and I've listened to El Goro's reviews of them and then went and read a lot. And Chow Yun-Fat being the kind of Doc Savage hero in this, or Santo hero in this, was similar to those films because they were about other characters. And then Santo, would just show up at the end and save the day. And that's kind of how this was set up. Like, everybody did the heavy lifting, and Santo just would come and hold the airplane back with a rope or something. But, that was like this. And the other thing that I'm curious about is he was in Fist of Legend, and I can't say his name, but why wasn't this fucking lead in more stuff? Because I thought he was terrific. Yeah. You know,
He didn't have a great face, but his action scenes were really good.
It could just be that, or he might be a dick, or whatever else. Like, you know, I have to do a little more research of it. What I recognized him from, you know, he's you know, obviously a bunch older, and I'm sure what a lot of our listeners would, is from Jet Li's Fist of Legend. This is a treat of the highest order. This had everything I love: tits, monsters, pulp heroes, fucking crazy shit. That warrior style aesthetic where there was nothing lazy about any of the set pieces or obstacles that they faced. Fucking a double plus movie. I recommend it to everyone on our panel, except for SL. It might be a little too sleazy for her sometime. But there's definitely there's definitely a lot of real estate that she would want to put her mouth on, though, on both ends of the both sides of the fence, though. Some good looking people in this.
What?
So treat, mo fucking treat.
All right, Tani, we actually have 2 minutes, so let's blow through this.
I love this movie. I agree with Dynamo. It could be a contender for top 10 of the episodes that we've done so far. Excellent action, excellent fight choreography, cinematography good, a little dark sometimes, probably to hide the practical effects, and a huge treat.
All right, MZ.
Lots of gore, lots of really interesting set pieces, some outstanding action, and I love that. Definitely a great time. I'm really happy that I got to see this, and it is definitely a treat.
You guys are not talking about the bonometer.
Oh, bonometer, 100%.
100%?
I would say on a scale of Michael Ravenshadow to SL, I was way up in SL.
His bone is so big, it's poking out of his back.
Tiny, what's the
runtime on this movie again?
81 minutes, I think.
81.
Which
so
is
I would
perfect movie
say on the bonometer, probably 67 minutes.
What?
67 minutes hard.
Oh, nice.
You were hard.
Good.
Okay, I gotcha. Okay.
Yep.
MZ, what was the bonometer rating?
I would say about maybe 52, 53 minutes.
Okay.
Well, that's pretty good.
Yeah. Raven Shadow, go ahead.
My only complaint with this movie is
that I didn't watch it.
Is that I agree with everyone said. No, I wish I didn't watch it alone. I wish we all hung out, got some beers.
Oh, you watch it alone?
Oh,
maybe
you want to make it a buddy movie?
Go fuck yourself. I was Johnny that hung out and watched it.
This would be a good buddy movie, though.
Yeah,
if
like over the big screen.
Maybe one of these days we can do like we can finally do a screening at maybe the cable car or something.
Since 2 out of 3 of us didn't really get to watch it, so it's fine.
Yeah, but like it'd be a great one to all watch and be like, oh Snoop, that's weird.
No, I'm not saying that. Trick or treat bonometer, give it to me.
It'd be 69, on the bonometer scale, and it was clearly a treat.
All right, I'm gonna agree. This is unanimous treat. Luan, you fucking rule, dude. You picked an awesome movie for us to review. And on the bonometer, since I had most of you guys in the room while I was watching it, I'm sadly gonna say that it's about a 30 on the bonometer, but I don't mean that in a negative way. This is a really fun movie, and this is good for anyone. I mean, not just if you're a fan of Hong Kong, not just if you're a fan of Chow Yun Fat. This is a movie that's just needs to be seen. You know, it's one of those ones that's just fucking crazy. You need to see it.
Yeah.
So
this is retarded in a whorehouse crazy. You know?
So seek out.
That's the origin of Monster Zero.
So everyone out there, seek out The Seventh Curse. You may have to call your pirate friend. I don't know. I don't think it's going to be on Netflix anytime soon, but do what you have to do to get this movie. And
you might even find it on YouTube.
Yeah, it's a good point. You may find it on YouTube. All right, so we have to cut to a break. We actually, I'm sad to say, we don't actually have next week's movie picked out yet. It's between a couple. I'm going to announce it on the Fib as soon as we figure it out. So
Police Academy
that's
4.
Exciting.
Yeah, so sorry I can't announce it on the show. We don't have it picked out just yet. It's a matter of getting copies of stuff. That's why we don't have it picked out. But
is it Police Academy 4?
No. Citizens on Patrol?
Yeah.
No.
David Spade.
Citizens on Patrol.
We need to cut to a break. We'll be back to talk to Paul Bunnell, director, filmmaker.
What's up, y'all? It's me, the Yeti. Telling all the ladies that they couldn't be more fine and that we should knock those boots like Frankenstein. When I want to get my nerd on, I go to Facebook and I go to the Trick or Treat Radio Facebook group. That's the place where I get to talk about all the hip new horror movies, all the cool comics.
What comics?
RPGs, video games, you name it, we're talking about shit on there. And you could not be any cooler if you were the coolest kid in school. Be the first kid on your block to swing that cock over at the Trick or Treat Radio Facebook group. Just go to Facebook, search for Trick or Treat Radio, ask to join, and it's like Nerd Nirvana, baby, without the shotgun blast. This is the Yeti, signing out. See you at the Trick or Treat Radio Facebook group.
Follow us on Twitter at The Deadites, TheDeadites.com, and TrickOrTreatRadio.com.
All right, we have returned after a very quick break.
Hey.
Hey
now.
What I'm going to do, you know what? I'm going to play Paul Bunnell, the director of Ghastly Love of Johnny X, reached out to us and sent us a voicemail, actually. So I'm going to play a little clip of that before we give him a ring. So
Nice. Cool.
Here's some of the voicemail that Paul sent us.
All right.
Oh, hold on.
That wasn't much at all.
Howdy, folks.
Howdy, folks.
Then he just hung up.
Yeah, he guess he doesn't want to talk to us.
Well, anybody could read into that.
That's all, folks.
Yeah, no, all right. Here we go.
Paul Bunnell here. I have a little bit of a cold, so excuse my stuffiness. Anyway, yeah, I did hear your review.
Sounds like
of
Ray
the Ghastly Love of Johnny X, and yeah, you know, it's entertaining to hear these things. When you make a picture like that, you put yourself out there to the public, and folks are gonna love it or they're gonna hate it or be somewhere in between. I do appreciate constructive criticism. You know, I mean, of course, it makes me feel a little bad when folks are just going off and insulting things that they really haven't researched or don't know anything about, or in the spirit of being entertaining, which you guys were doing, you know, trying to do. But, you know, my movie is an interesting labor of love, and I am glad that I got it finished. It's not the way I would recommend going about making a film, because we did start shooting it in 2004 on Plus X Film Stock. We ran out of money, and 6 years later, we actually picked it up. And when I got back to filming in 2010, a friend of mine called and said, "Hey, congratulations on getting the money, but how are you going to finish now that they've just discontinued the Kodak Plus X Film Stock?"
You know what? I'm going to stop right there because I want to actually ask him about that.
I was just going to ask him.
Yeah. No, I'm just playing the voicemail.
I would have been like, "Why are you ignoring me?"
I'm going to stop right there just because that's something I want to talk more about, so we don't need to rehash. So let me go ahead and give Mr. Bunnell a call right now. All right. And we'll get him on the line.
Your first line that you say is, "I'm sorry, I'm a shitty film critic."
No, I'm not going to do that.
All right, shut up, dudes.
Hello.
Hi, is this Paul?
This is Paul speaking, yes.
Hey, Paul. This is Johnny Wolfenstein from Trick or Treat Radio.
Well, I'll be doggone. How are you?
We're doing great. We apologize. We're a couple minutes late here. We were just reviewing a crazy Hong Kong film called The Seventh Curse, which...
Yeah, I've been watching.
Oh, okay. Excellent. Perfect.
So
So
I know. So are we on right now?
we are live right now. The way
I'll
we.
be a son of a gun.
Yep. The way
Well,
we.
You're live, and well, I'm a dead man. So yeah. I appreciate the call.
No
what can
problem.
I do for you? Yeah, it's a Filmmakers Anonymous here. You know,
Yes.
you make them, you break them.
Well, first of all, the first thing I want to do is I want to thank you for coming on and agreeing to come on, because we obviously weren't as nice about your film as you know, as we have been about other films. And you know, we're all, most of us here are comprised of a band. There's most of the guys here are you know, we're in a band, and we have, you know, we have comic books, we have music, we have video games, we have all sorts of stuff out there in the world. So we certainly understand what it's like to have put your stuff out there. And you know, we've gotten some really terrible reviews, we've got some really good reviews, and we've got some lukewarm reviews. And you know,
mostly our terrible reviews are of us, though, not of our product.
Yes.
Well, look, you know, you guys were just, you know, having fun and just sort of like, you know, turned into a movie gangbang, really. You know? I mean, you guys, I mean, once one guy started, there's another guy joined in, and it's like, well, I'm going to get in on this. And before you know it, it was like, let's ream the ghastly love of Johnny X, because it's just so damn fun. But no, I appreciate you at least taking the time to look at it and give it a shot.
Oh,
and you know, it's not really. It's a very polarizing film. I mean, people either love it or they really don't like it a lot. So
Yeah.
apparently you were in the you know, the don't like it a lot category.
Well, let me, for the record, I was the one that called it a treat. So
Oh, really?
all of you guys owe Mr. Bunnell an apology. No,
That's okay. You know
yeah.
what? Look, I mean, people put stuff out there every day. I mean, I when I'm criticizing stuff, I try to go kind of easy. And
yeah.
I mean, of course, I mean, if I'm hanging out with my friends, it might be easier to poke fun at something or what have you. But, you know, you get a couple of drinks. I see you've got some Cheez-Its over there. But, you know, the bottom line is, I mean, you can't really get drunk on Cheez-Its. So I think you were in your right minds when you were, you know, reviewing the picture. But you know, I mean, it's just one of those things that I wish that I had made a movie. I thought I was making a movie that wasn't just for everyone, but it would be for everyone. You know, I don't know if that makes sense, but I wanted to have a little something going on for everybody in that movie, you know. But I'm here to really, you know, I mean, look, I could take it, you know. I mean, I get a little skeptical when people tell me they really love the movie anyway.
Yeah.
Because I've had a lot of that, and people, oh, this is great, and you know, well, that's fine and all, but I never believe them.
Thanks, Mom. I appreciate that.
Yeah, well, you know, no, I mean, it's just I never believe.
Yeah.
You know, and I just sort of listen, and I do take notes because, you know, I am a filmmaker that tries to, you know, I have a particular style, and, you know, I have been making movies for a very long time.
Yeah.
I mean, I haven't cranked out a ton of movies, but I did start, you know, way back when I was a kid, going back to the 1970s, you know, so.
You seem to have a real, by looking at, seeing Johnny X and kind of looking at your IMDb thing and seeing the synopsis, especially the other film that has Mr. Bannister in it, you seem to have a affinity for the films of, you know, like the 50s and 60s monster movies. Would you say that that's accurate?
Yeah, you know, I mean, it's probably, that's true. You know, I grew up with that stuff. You know, when it would just run it on TV and reruns, and I would see The Late Show, Fright Night with Seymour. You know, one of our local, you know, horror hosts over here that we used to have. Nice. Do you know who that is?
I've heard.
Yeah.
Me and Monster Zero are big fans of horror hosts in general, so we know, if not by body of work, we know of the existence of most.
Yeah, but Larry Vincent was his name, and he was a horror host here in the early 70s, but I was just a little kid. But no, I was into the famous monsters of film land and all of that stuff, you know. But I was also into silent movies and slapstick and Charlie Chaplin and you know, that nonsense, you know. But I mean, I'm sort of just an eclectic. I'm just a movie lover, and I mostly, you know, I spend a lot of time looking at old films. I even collect films on film. I have 16 millimeter prints and 35 millimeter prints, and I run these things for my own amusement, you know, and friends occasionally, if I could find a friend that might want to look at one, you know. But
what would you say is your prize?
Just pop in a Blu-ray; it's easier. You know?
What would you say your prized possession on 35 millimeter is?
Well, my favorite print that I have on 35 millimeter is a movie called "It's a Mad, 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 Mad World."
That's a great movie,
you
right
gotta
there.
be kidding me! You got that. Huh?
I have a beautiful original dye transfer that's IB Technicolor print, original release print of that on 35. It's on 9 reels. It's a really long movie. Each reel, could be up to about 22 minutes, but it varies.
Oh.
So yeah, that's my favorite 35 millimeter print. Actually, you know what? I take that back. My very, very, very favorite 35 millimeter print is The Ghastly Love of Johnny.
Nice.
Ooh. That's the
that
answer.
really was my pay. Because guys, you got to realize this. I made that movie as just another movie. It was a labor of love for sure, but I did not get a penny to make that movie.
No.
Yeah.
I worked on that for the better part of 10 years on and off. In other words, I was living with the thing in my head for 10 years, trying to struggle to get it finished, to figure out how to get it made, nervous breakdowns and all that sort of thing. But, I mean, my whole goal was at the end of the day, I said, if I could just have a 35 millimeter print of this movie, that would be my pick. So I'd love to be able to look at this thing and hold these reels and go, wow, I made this level.
Yep.
But anyway, it's really great to be able to say that I could run the picture on film. And as a matter of fact, the Library of Congress has a print there in their collection now, because this is historic for being, not by design, just by accident, by being the last movie to be shot on Kodak's Plus X film stock.
Despite the financial situations and the setbacks that you had making this film, are you pleased with the way the film has turned out?
Well, in some ways, yes. I mean, I'm a very hard person to please. A lot of my producers, people that, worked on the movie said, oh, don't tell people you don't like the movie. Well, it's not that I don't like the movie. I like the movie a lot in some areas, but, in other areas I know that there is room for improvement. And, it is my 22nd or 23rd film that I've made over the course of many years. Of course, you don't really want to count your early Super 8 films. I've never picked up a digital camera and made a movie yet. I've only shot on film or rolls of film, but so I have, it's just sort of second nature to me to shoot it on film, and it doesn't seem odd to me, except now it does because everybody's gone digital. But,
Right.
But I think the movie has certain flaws, of course, and I'm able to see that because you set out to do something wonderful. Let's say you set out to write a song, and you think you've written this amazing song. You record the song, you start playing it. Maybe the song is great, but perhaps it was the way it was sung, or the way it was played, or the timing of when it was received. It's all subjective, and you just never know when a film is going to, any piece of art or work or comic book or what have you, how it's going to be received. It's weird. I have no two audiences are alike, and I've had this happen to me with Johnny X.
So
I've screened it in big theaters for a lot of people, and they've liked it a lot. And then I've screened it to theaters. It's screened in Boston. It's screened in New York. It's screened all over the country, actually, in different theaters and stuff.
Before we get too far, this is tiny. If you don't see anybody's mouth moving over there, it's because I'm out of studio. Before we get too far along, I want to make sure that the compliments that we shared last week didn't get drowned out in the. We try to be funny on this show. We try to be entertaining, but we did remark, and I hope it wasn't lost, that just the fact that you did this, the fact that it exists, is a massive accomplishment. It's more than most people can lay claim to.
That was the next week, I think you said that, you asshole.
In spite of the fact that for example, I just don't like musicals. It's like I'm never going to be won over by a musical.
That's cool. And amazingly, I'm not a big musical fan either, if you could believe that.
That was my next question, actually.
Yeah.
I'm really not. I'm really not a musical fan. But anyway, go ahead.
But so, all bashing aside from last week, there's things that we didn't like. There are things that we did like. I thought that Francisco Bulgarelli's cinematography was amazing, and the fact that it was shot on 35 and lit well and shot well on 35 was amazing, definitely.
Well, thank you. Thank you very much for that. I appreciate that. We certainly had all the tools to accomplish, for the most part, on an amazingly low budget. I mean, if you look at the IMDb, that's not an accurate budget. I mean, the IMDb says we made the movie for $2 million. Well, that's just simply not true. We made the movie for under $1 million, but it's still a lot of money. But we had, we spent money on other things, some advertising, some PR people. But I think the physical cost of making the actual film and getting the actors was far under $1 million. But I for some reason, that got put on the IMDb, and that's fine, I mean, maybe with extra expenses, who knows? I know it wasn't too. But that's a mistake, and that actually makes the movie look better. But the fact of the matter is, it was a miracle that we did get the damn thing done, because I mean, it was a crazy project from the beginning. I just started it with my wife. She's a costume designer, and she designed all the costumes, and I've been making movies, and I thought I want to take it to the next level and make a bigger movie. So this is my next film. We're going to go out and get some 35 millimeter cameras, and we're going to start shooting this thing on real film, and that's what I did, And then about 10 days into the shoot in 2004, 10 years ago, we ran out of money because I never had to pay people. I mean, when you want to get good people to work on your projects, you have to pay professionals, and I had to pay crew. And before it was usually just, well, my friends would help me, and I'd get more favors. I certainly got a lot of favors on this one, but by the end of the 2004, I mean, we just were like, we can't. We took a second mortgage out on our house, and we just can't do it. So we had about a third of the film shot, and we didn't know what to do. So I cut this production teaser together, and we showed it to everybody, and everybody seemed to really like it a lot. But I couldn't make any deals. I could not get the money or the financing, and every year would go by. The first year was murder because I thought, well, what about the actors? They're going to start aging. Are they going to be available? Or some of these girls going to get married or pregnant? Are they going to cut their hair? And I mean, after the third or fourth year, it was just sort of like I was numb. And we had a few false leads and false, promises of getting the money together, and those fell through. And really, in the 11th hour, when I was just about ready to slit my own wrists, and I thought, how do I save face here? I told everybody I was making this movie. Everybody knows about this movie, and it's like it's just not happening, And the year was the end of 2009. I finally, started talking to a friend of mine, and he had just come into some money after selling his business, and he agreed to help me, not because he wanted to make a profit or make any money back, but he said, Paul, I want to help you with this thing. How much do you need? And when I told him, then he, took a couple of breaths, and he said, well, let me think about that. But anyway, so it just magically came together, and unbelievably, the actors were still available. They all looked the same. I mean, they fit into their costumes. I mean, it was like we were back shooting, season 6 of some other TV show. I mean, there's cuts in the drive-in scene when she's sitting in the car, when Chip and Bliss are sitting in the car and they're talking, and they get out of the car. That cut is 6 years later. They're actually
really
you don't notice.
No.
You would never know that they were 6 years older. I mean, it was amazing, So it's the kind of tricks that we did. So I'm pretty proud of the fact that we made it flow seamlessly without letting anybody know that there was a jump in time. And I mean, the majority of the movie was shot in 2010, though.
Yeah. When you cast Will Keenan as the lead,
here we go.
It's a legitimate question. Yeah, Will Keenan. You are obviously aware of his...
You should introduce yourself as, hi, I'm Monster Zero. I tore apart your movie.
Yes, I tore it apart. I tore it apart like a rabid Wolverine high on crack.
He's not a film critic. We just keep him around because he's funny.
Look, man, that's okay. I think it's hilarious. I have a good sense of humor about all of this. As a matter of fact, let me just interrupt you for one moment.
Sure.
We'll get back to Will Keenan. When CNBC started doing coverage about my movie being the lowest box office earning film of 2012, and these stories started coming up, some snarky, reporters started coming up.
It's funny. I have Jane Wells, right? I was doing some research, and I used that same word. It was just super, just snarky and just kind of mean, just really mean. I don't know.
That's exactly it. And my friends started calling me going, oh, my God, Paul, we're so sorry, I mean, you must feel awful. And they were like, are you going to be suicidal here? And I'm like, are you kidding? This is the greatest publicity you can get.
Sure, there you go. Yeah.
Now, look, I mean, if I had tried to make a movie, and try to, put money into marketing, and we opened a lot of theaters, and nobody went and saw it, well, then maybe I would be depressed.
Right.
But because of the situation where I won a film festival, audience award in Kansas, and they ran it in their theater for a week, and nobody came because there was no advertising. I mean, it was like, what do you expect? Of course, it's not going to make any money.
Right.
So I just thought it was brilliant because if I was if I'd made another $50, no one would be talking about the movie, you know, and
Right,
it would still
yeah.
be like nothing. But, you know, I mean, it's just great fortune to have that kind of PR happen.
Yeah, I mean, her title for that article was "The Worst Movie of 2012 was truly Ghastly."
Yeah. No, I mean, you know, I kind of got a kick out of it, and of course, the ultimate thing was when, I don't know if you know about the Bill Geist CBS Sunday Morning.
No.
They came all the way from New York to here in California and did a whole story about me in the movie, and they ran it on Oscar Sunday, and 6 million people, it was a national piece, 6 million people saw that show, and all of a sudden I was like, you know, phones ringing off the hook, and everybody wanted to play the movie, and because Bill Geist, you could see that on YouTube, by the way. I posted the entire show, the entire episode on YouTube, and Bill Geist is an Emmy Award-winning news reporter, and he's very well known for doing these quirky stories. So yeah, they did that whole piece, and it just kind of snowballed from there. But getting back to Will Keenan.
Yes. Yeah, I was wondering when you cast him as Johnny X, was there any trepidation, any nervousness about his trauma past at all, like maybe seeping in at all? Or?
No, I'll tell you. I'll be real honest with you. I was not familiar with Will Keenan. I didn't know who he was. My friend Ramsey Abed suggested him. I had just started casting in early 2004, and he said, "Why don't you look at Will Keenan? He was in this movie Romeo and Juliet." And I said, "What the hell is that?"
Yes.
You know. And so I checked it out, and I said, "Oh my God, you know, you're kidding." But then I looked at the guy, and I looked at his reel, and I said, "You know, he's got the look that I visualized for this Johnny X character. He's the kind of like the pale guy with the dark hair." And I just said, you know, I think he would be right, and he's got some credits, and he's got a little rep, so why not? So I met with the guy at the Bob's Big Boy here in Burbank, California.
Nice.
And yeah, we met, and he's a nice guy, and you know, he said the only thing he didn't want to do was smoke in the movie. There was smoking. Johnny was supposed to always be smoking a cigarette.
Okay.
And I said, well, why is that? Because you smoke in real life. And he said, well, I don't want to put that out there to the kids. He said he really didn't want to be a role model, a negative role model for kids. And I said, that's fine. So we gave him a licorice stick. That's why he every now and again chomps on a black licorice.
Oh, yeah.
Nice.
He doesn't want to be a role model for smokers, but yet he'll shove a couple of tampons up a guy's nose in Romeo and Juliet.
Well, you know, pick and choose your battles, I guess.
Yeah,
you know,
right.
But you know, Will now is retired from acting. I saw him about a month ago, and he is now the president. He's like a CEO. You know, he's the president of a company called Endin Mall and Beyond. And it's a company that does internet web stuff. He was previously a VP at Maker Studios. And he moved up to this other company, and he's doing all kinds of wonderful stuff for the internet. And
great.
Boy, he's in Beverly Hills there with a fancy office. And I brought a bunch of Johnny X posters for him to sign, as a matter of fact, because I give them out to fans that will leave a review, a good review, on the internet or on something, you know, as a little kind of reward. I will mail an autographed movie poster to people, you know. And I've been very good. I mean, I'm kind of quiet about it, but I'm very good about mailing out promo items and things to fans. And if I find somebody out there that really, really likes my movie, a lot of times I will just say, I'll get in touch with them and say, hey, you know, I saw you said good things about my movie, and I would love to send you a poster, you know. And so I mailed them a big full-size movie poster. We only have about a very limited supply of them, but I mailed them out, and they love it. So I try to be good to the people that, you know, it means a lot to me. Look, I mean, you guys didn't like the movie, and that's fair, that's honest, and that's okay, you know. But there are people out there that actually really do love the movie. For whatever reason, they're like, they really like it a lot. Yeah. And, you know, I'm just like, wow, you know, I mean, that makes me feel like I accomplished something good in my life, that I didn't waste my life, you know, just piddling around. And, you know, I mean, the vision isn't for everyone, but, you know, whenever you put a piece of art out there, whether it's a song or a film or a painting or whatever it is, you know, it's all in how your filter processes it. I mean, everybody sees things differently, and, you know, some things turn you on, some things don't. I mean, you know, it's like I love certain things and I hate certain things, but I mean, I'm very understanding about art, you know. It's just, it's all subjective, really.
I've two things, and one I think is like I don't want to miss the opportunity that you have and we have right now. We have a very unique opportunity. So both these things I'm going to say is you heard, first of all, you heard the review. We've stated that, okay? When I found out that you were going to be on, Paul, I did two things that I don't generally do.
Shower, right?
Right? No, I did not. I
Appreciate it.
went back and I watched the film. And before SL gets all over me, this isn't me. Like I'm gonna say I was totally wrong. I changed my mind. So all you fucking monsters in the chat room, get off my back, and you fucking raven balls. And I went back, and this is something I never do or seldom do. I went back and listened to the show. I went back and listened to the review. And while you are here, I'm pretty much the same where I was. I really thought a lot of the musical numbers were really, really well set up. And I really liked the kind of Rocky Erickson character from that point in the film on. Like I was on board. That was the movie that I wanted to see, you know, like what I did like, and I did say, and again, I'm not backpedaling, like, you know, I'm not a girly man like Tiny is, so I don't, it doesn't matter if you want to punch me in the nose or anything like that. But what I will say is that one thing I did state, and I think this was good, a great thing, and I think even talking to you for a few minutes, I think this sort of speaks to the type of guy you are, at least what you put out. You could have multiple, you know, children's bodies in your basement, and I wouldn't know. But there's like a line that could be, it's a big line in the movie, but it's, you know, it's the way it's delivered and stuff like that. It could almost be like quasi dismissed because the punchline, the type of film you were making, Will Keenan was going to say that pretty much from the opening minute. It was like a predestined thing almost. You know what I mean? Like if he was going to have the arc, his arc was going to go one of two ways. And he said that line. In the line when he said, "I don't want this, it doesn't belong to me."
Right.
I felt like that was something that we need more of in cinema right now, to a degree. Like that kind of like really positive energy and that positive message, especially in things that are rated in a way that, like, you know, and out there on Netflix, that's out there in the world for anybody to see, you know?
Yeah.
I think that is something, and I don't get the opportunity to, like, commend people on things to their face very often, but I think that was a great thing. I think that we need more of that. I mean, I'm not the guy to do that. I'm pretty much the polar opposite of that. I am the worst role model in the whole entire world. But
you know, I mean, I think though that sort of thing speaks to the innocent part of all of us. You know, if you want to say the child in all of us, you know, I mean, it's. I think we all long to have that innocence. You know, I mean, we're so messed up by the world and all the shit that's in the world and stuff. We could be very jaded, but I think you're right. You know, when stuff like that is, you know, when you could tell that it's sincere. You know, there's a good feeling about that. Unless you're the devil, you know. But
which I've been accused.
Yes, but no. I mean, I'm glad you recognize that. It was something that I wanted to put in there because I felt that was a simple act. You know, I mean, Johnny was supposed to do this good deed, but he didn't know what it was. I mean, all along it was just giving back what he took of his own free will. Not because he was going to get something out of it. He really believed that he should give it back. You know, and that was the. But you know, there were a lot of things in the story I didn't really get to emphasize enough, or you know, really flesh out, you know, more that I would have liked to. But that was one of the things. It was just because more of. I hope it didn't come. Maybe it comes off as a throwaway line at the end, but.
Well, I don't want to say it was an important line, and it affected me. You know, like I enjoyed this movie we watched this week, but there's nothing in it that, like, you know, made me feel anything, I guess, other than like enjoy it. You know, and that's something that's really hard to do. You know, maybe I'm a you know, I'm not a I'm a night at Casablanca guy. I'm not a Hangover guy. You know, so I'm a Duck Soup guy. I'm not a
Marx Brothers.
Yeah, you know, like it's just like so maybe it was aimed at me. But like, I think that was great. I'm gonna go.
Well, you know,
No.
Yeah.
You first.
No, I was just going ahead. I mean, I was just really going to interject and say, you know, the thing with Johnny X is that, you know, if you'll notice, there are 4 different writers that are credited to the movie.
Yeah.
And it's an idea that started, to be honest with you, the movie started as a very dark tale. A very dark tale about a gang of juvenile delinquents from outer space who are performance artists, and they go around from planet to planet stealing dead bodies of recently deceased celebrities. And they hook them up on these like meat puppets, and they turn them into they do the underground performance art with them. And it's like, ladies and gentlemen, and now you know, coming back from the, you know, the late great Dean Martin live on the stage once more, you know.
So
and it's really creepy. That's my concept. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
That was my concept, and I was writing it, and then there was a Chip character who was going to have an arc, and he was going to turn out to be Johnny by the end of the movie. I mean, the whole damn thing was dark, and I wanted to make something really nitty-gritty dark. But what happened was, my dad died around 2002. The same month I started shooting the picture, shooting background plates. I shot some of the rocks and stuff just as a test. We ended up putting it at the beginning of the movie, you know, that kind of drawn out stuff, the time lapse. I wanted it to be kind of artistic, like Ansel Adams, you know. But anyway, so I saw my dad's body, and in the hospital, you know, they let him stay in there, and he was kind of getting discolored. And I thought, and it was, you know, shortly after 9/11, you know, about a year after 9/11, and I thought, you know, with all the terrible things happening in the world, there's all this negative energy around me, all of this hate and, you know, death here, and I'm looking at my dad's dead body, and I thought to myself, you know, I just don't know if I really want to put a negative thing out there like this, because some people are going to love that and be drawn to it. But I felt instinctively inside that I have to turn this project into some kind of a light, kind of, you know, what would you call it? Not a feel-good movie, but just something with positive vibes.
Yeah.
Something a little more magical and fun and lighthearted. Something that more of the family could watch, as opposed to just hardcore rockers or horror buffs.
Yeah, maybe something that's not going to make the world, you know, a worse place for the
sake
of entertainment.
And I just felt that because at the time when I started to get the movie going, I really felt that I wanted to get away from the darkness and go to something beautiful and fun and light. And that's why Johnny X, you know, it has a lot of underlying dark humor in it, and there's a lot of sexual innuendos and stuff, but it really is a movie that, I mean, you know, you could pretty much play to anybody. I mean, it's not an unsafe, I mean, you know, kids could get something out of it. And as a matter of fact, I do have a lot of kids that like the movie a lot, you know. Yeah. So that was the whole story behind Johnny X turning into this. The musical was a complete afterthought. There was always going to be a concert scene with the Mickey O'Flynn guy. And then what happened was I wasn't happy with parts of the script because we kept getting these different drafts, and I had different writers working on different scenes. And I would look at a scene and I'd go, God, that's just kind of boring, you know? And I thought, well, wouldn't it be interesting if I just turned this thing into a musical number, just for the hell of it? And I thought, let's do that with the diner scene. Because the original diner scene was going to be very, in my dark version, the gang was going to come into the diner and they were going to, you know, put a quarter in the jukebox, and the music was going to start playing, and in time to the music, they were going to start roughing up everybody in the diner, like punching them and, you know, elbowing them, and I mean, really violent stuff. Not this wimpy pansy stuff they do now, but I'm talking about really over the top violence. And again, you know, I didn't want to do that. I just felt something inside of me told me to make it light and make it kind of fun. So I put a musical number to end. I said, let's do a musical number to end all musical numbers, and just put everything in this thing in the kitchen sink in this one diner musical number. Just and we won't tell anybody it's going to be in there, and it'll just be in the movie. And the composer thought that was a fine idea. He has a musical theater background, which is why the songs are more like West Side Story-esque as opposed to Rocky Horror Picture Show or whatever. So we did it, and we liked it so much that I'll be damned if we didn't start finding other problems in the script. And I said, well, let's put that into a musical number, you know. And so it kind of by default, and I've always said that Johnny X is not a musical, almost half jokingly, but it never really was intended to be a musical, and that's why, like, third way through the film, the musical numbers kind of stop, and we get on with the story, and then we throw one in at the end, and that's it. So that's kind of the story behind it, the genesis. So now you get a little background. I mean, how things are, going in one direction and they go to another direction. It's all a choice, really. I mean, it's just, and halfway through the movie, when I shot a third of it in 2010, when I shot a third of it in 2004, and I was waiting to get that money, I did not want to reshoot any scenes because that would have cost more money. So I just locked into stuff I already did.
Yeah.
And that I'd already filmed.
What was that stuff early on?
Well, all the stuff that we shot was everything inside of the diner and outside of the diner, not the fantasy diner, but the real diner.
Yeah.
And then it was Kevin McCarthy, and it was half of the drive-in stuff, and the newscaster, and that's pretty much it. So it wasn't a lot of stuff, but it ended up being about 10 days of filming.
Yeah. How deeply invested in the original sort of plot were the actors that you had on board at the time? I guess the question is, do you feel like they felt a little yo-yoed by the change, or did they
even see it?
That's the question. Yeah.
Well, they had a script in 2004, and there were a couple of musical numbers in it, and we had recorded the songs.
Good.
And then, while I'm waiting to get the money, in 2007, I shot background plates where everybody's driving, and when you see the driving shots, that's not a green screen. That's actually film being projected behind the actors.
Nice, yeah.
By the guys that actually worked on the old Hitchcock pictures. I mean, these guys were like old-timers, and they did this process setup for me. And so it was done as authentically as possible. I really wasn't trying to make it look cheesy, although you could tell it's fake, but I wasn't making fun of the process, And the actors recorded some songs in 2007 that we added because we rewrote some scenes. We added the Dandy Connors character. We added the Damnation's Hole scene at the end on the rocks because I wanted a bigger ending.
Okay.
And everything had to be sort of, checkerboarded and carefully inserted so that it wouldn't screw up any of the previous footage that we shot. And then they got another script in 2010 when I came back to finish the movie. Creed Bratton was cast, because I had not cast Mickey O'Flynn.
Okay.
So he got a script and just did his whole thing all the way through, and I got Paul Williams. Paul Williams was originally going to play Mickey O'Flynn.
Yeah, really.
But Paul had become president of ASCAP in the meantime and was unavailable for a lot of shooting days, so he took the talk show host as a favor to me.
Did Paul Williams have any say at all as far as the music was concerned?
No, you would think that Paul he heard the two songs that he would have sang as Mickey O'Flynn, Big Grin Bug-Eyed Monster, and That's For Me, and he said, well, they work, I would have considered having him write songs, but it just would have been really expensive and kind of unnecessary at that point. But Paul was really, the thing about Paul, he was so perfect for the talk show host because he hosted, 25 or 30, original Tonight shows. He took over for Johnny Carson when Johnny was on vacation, and Paul Williams actually, was a talk show host or a fill-in. And he was great at improvising, and he came up with some funny stuff on the set, and he asked me would it be okay if I said this here, and I said, great, sure, And Creed Bratton did a little improvisation, but for the most part, everything was followed in the script, pretty much to the letter.
Paul, I want to ask a little bit. You sort of described this a little bit on the voicemail that you left, but I thought it was, first of all, I had no idea until you let us know that you had actually started filming in 2004. Like, I thought that's great. Like, no clue that there was a 6-year difference in the filming of some of the film. But I really thought the story you told about securing the film, the 35 millimeter film, the Plus X film, I thought was really interesting because obviously you started filming in 2004. At that point in time, they were still making the Plus X. And then, fast forward to 2010, you're trying to begin filming the movie again, and they don't make the film anymore, right?
That's right. What happened right at the time, just coincidentally, when we got the money to finish the movie, the guys, a friend of mine called me and said, hey, great, congratulations on getting the money to finish the movie. Oh, by the way, how are you going to shoot it on black and white now that they've just discontinued the stock? And I said, what? So sure enough, I called Kodak and found out that it was true. And I know the artist was just doing tests, and they decided to shoot on color stock. But I started shooting Johnny X right before the artist did. And I did get the last of the black and white. I asked my Kodak rep if she can get any and all plus X film, and she went to France and to warehouses in France and in New York and wherever they had film stashed, probably some old rolls and stuff. But I got enough to finish the movie, and had a little left over afterwards. But I know that I was absolutely the last film, and it's verified that I was the last feature production to use that film just by accident, because it just happened to occur. Now, if I'd gotten the money 6 months later, I would not have been able to finish on that film stock. I would have had to have used a different film stock, or maybe shot on color like the artist did. But
the thing I'm interested about, did you have to be a little bit more economical because there was a finite amount? Obviously, did you get enough where you could just film as much as you wanted?
Well, no, I'm never a guy that, the way I shoot a movie, and this probably comes from my background of having, shot film my entire life and having to conserve. So I'm really used to not overdoing it. People with a digital setup, you could be very undisciplined. I think when you're a filmmaker and shooting on real film, there's a discipline about the directing, and what you kind of need to get, and you go and you do it. But I would shoot as many takes as I would need, usually, between 3 and 4 takes on everything. Mm-hmm. Occasionally, I went up to 10 or 11 on a really tricky shot. That was very rare. Yeah. But, I plan it out very carefully, and I also don't shoot everything. I do some overlapping, and I set up shots so that I know how I want to cut it. It's sort of pre-cut in my head. Right. And I don't get enough coverage all the time that I should get, but that also helps, But it's probably because of the way I shoot films that I was able to get away with. I'm trying to remember. I think we had about 12,000 feet of film, somewhere around there, or was it? I can't remember. Somewhere around 12, or maybe it was more than that. But I'd have to look at my records. But
I'm actually curious how when you buy film, how does it come? Because I used to be a film projectionist, so I'm very much a lover of film and 35 millimeter. But when you get film, like do you get like a reel of it? Do you I know?
Yeah, when you get film from Kodak, we get it here in Hollywood, and I would go over there and we place an order and we go pick it up. It would come in boxes, and inside those boxes would be cans. Yeah. And the film would be sealed on a core. The undeveloped, the unexposed film would be on a core inside of that can, which was completely, light-proof. And then, you take those cans. Some of them would be 1,000-foot rolls. Some of them would be 400-foot rolls. The 400-foot rolls are lighter, so you would put.
Uh-oh.
I think we lost Tiny, too, actually.
Part of that's good.
Let me call him back.
Not the Paul pot.
We're getting Mr. Bunnell back in the line. Hopefully we can get it back here.
Hello, you've reached Paul.
Okay, he probably didn't realize that we had lost. So let me try again. Dynamo, what's going on?
Nothing. We have a very unique opportunity that I want to take advantage of shortly that we've never ever had, and I don't think anyone outside of a podcast that's run by the Deadites would ever do this. I don't think they have the stones.
Okay, I'm sorry about that.
We got
Paul.
cut off, didn't we?
We did get cut off. Like
I just gave my whole explanation, and I thought somebody else was call waiting me.
I hope that you didn't tell Monster Zero where to go and we missed it.
Yeah.
That was the most exciting part. Was I answering some of your question before we
Yeah, it was. We got pretty much up till the point where you're talking about like you got they were on the cores and it was the underexposed film. I think you were just talking about how
the Steadicam.
Yeah, the Steadicam.
Yeah. You give the film to the film to the camera loader, and he puts it in the the magazines, and then we shoot the film, and then he takes it back into the camera bag, changes it out, and then we take those cans sealed up to the lab where they are processed, and then they are generally transferred over to telecine, so we can have a work print on a digital work print.
Right.
And then from there, we edit the movie on an Avid, which is basically a computer like Final Cut or something, but it's called Avid, which is more film friendly. And you've got key codes on the film, and then I take the Avid and I deliver it and all the camera negatives to a negative cutter, and they actually cut my camera negative. And we made the entire, it's on 6 rolls, 6 reels, and the camera negative was cut, and then we made prints from the camera negative. So what you saw, I don't know, how did you see Johnny X?
We saw it on Netflix.
Okay, well that Netflix transfer came from my ProRes, high def transfer, which was made from an actual film print. So what you were seeing there is an actual film print that was transferred to video.
Well, it looked pretty damn good.
Yeah,
we cleaned it up a lot, and there were little specks or what have you, so there wouldn't be any dust. But you're really looking at a positive film print going through that telecine thing. I mean, it was amazing.
Despite anything else, everyone here no one argued that the film didn't look.
Yeah, it looked incredible. It was one of the best looking films we've seen on the show in a while.
As far as just look goes.
Yeah, absolutely, and you could tell it was done in film because a lot of the stuff we watch is filmed digitally. So,
with the stuff that's done digitally with a film treatment is especially
it's the
annoying.
Worst.
Yeah, where they try to make it look like film.
Yep.
Well, I know the movie was well received photographically because if you're familiar with a magazine called The American Cinematographer, they did a whole story about Johnny X.
Oh, okay.
And in the March 2012 issue, and they're like, they cover all the top high-end movies, and they did a story about us. And so, we've gotten some pretty good coverage by luck and by, kind of putting us out there. And, but again, the movie's not for everybody. You guys weren't too bowled over by it. But you know what? My next one will be better.
and you have to come and hang out, every step of the way. We want to, like.
Oh, absolutely.
You can tell us
you guys are in Massachusetts, right?
Correct.
Yep.
Yeah, well, my mother was born. I'm from California, but my mother was born in Massachusetts.
Oh, whereabouts?
I believe it's a little city called Saugus.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
Okay, I don't know. I've never been there myself, but I have a good friend that lives there in Boston, and and my movie did play at the Boston Sci-Fi Film Festival a couple of years ago. But I didn't go there for it. But one of these days I'll get out there and see the sights.
Yeah, absolutely. We have one of our guys needs to take off soon, but he wanted to ask you one more question before he left.
Sure,
so, Monster Zero, please.
Yeah. You know what? I mean, it looks like you had a lot of hard times making this film, and certainly making a film is no easy feat, no matter what kind, whether it be on digital, 16 millimeter, 35 millimeter, whatever. It's not an easy feat. I can attest to that myself. So I know exactly where you're coming from, but I just give a tip of the hat to you on getting the job done. I mean, that's the important thing, is getting the job done. More people.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that.
Oh, you can tell him to go fuck himself, Paul.
No, I can tell you to go fuck yourself. No, I'm just no.
That's like, you know what?
Guys.
I'm not gonna.
That's like him kissing you on the mouth after he just raped
No,
you.
no, that's serious.
That's a sincere statement, and I
It-
appreciate it coming from guys that reamed the film as much as you did. I'll be honest with you. When I see out there, sometimes when people are talking about the movie, and I'll go, oh, that's okay, somebody's reviewing a film, and I hold my breath because I know it's either going to be a really positive review or a really bad review. And I've read both, and most of the reviews are actually lean towards the positive side.
Good.
But when I saw your film, your little Google thing, and I thought, oh, they're going to talk about Johnny X, and I left that comment. I'm sorry I missed the show.
Yeah.
I went back afterwards, and then I started to find the part where you were talking about the movie, and my jaw dropped a few times. And,
Well, so long as you got to
pick myself up, and I said, okay, all right, these guys. But what I thought was kind of funny was that you guys are reaming on just about everything. That you were saying things where I got praise usually, no matter if people hate the film. they praise certain areas, and you guys didn't like that stuff. So I thought, man, there's no mercy here, you know. But
well, it just goes to show you. I mean, it like you said, it's very subjective. You know,
It is.
Even between the 5 people that reviewed it on this show, are the things that we liked and didn't like were wildly different. I don't like any musical numbers. Dynamo enjoyed all the musical numbers. So I mean, if you take the criticisms and the positive reviews that we had together, you have a completely negative review and you have a completely positive review.
Yes,
So-
the emotions are strong. I mean, so long as you got
Hey, but,
strong
at least we're
positive
talking
or
about
strong
the movie,
negative.
and that, no, you guys are talking about the movie, and then other people are going to hear your review, and they probably will go, oh, I'm not going to see that piece of shit. But you never know. Others might go, well, I think I might check this thing out.
Yeah.
And they have low expectations, and they end up loving it for some reason. You know,
Yeah,
so
it happens.
you just never know.
Believe you me, our listeners don't put very much stock into anything we say.
Right.
Yeah. No,
Well, anyway, I thank you for having me on and for chatting about the movie, and I hope I was able to answer some of your questions.
You are, but I'm not gonna let you run because we have an opportunity here, Paul. That
Oh, yeah.
I don't think that any show would. So Monster Zero is gonna get out of here, which is my favorite part of the show.
Mine too.
All right.
There were 2 things that I said weren't going to happen when I found out this was going to happen. One of them I couldn't really quantify, but what I didn't want to happen is I wasn't going to sit down here and kind of backpedal on anything that I had said or anything like that. And I certainly don't feel like I did, but I also feel like, Paul, and I'm going to message you in real life, having nothing to do with the film, but you and I just had a real connection with you. So. Like we'll talk about that in real life later, if possible. But another thing I wanted to do, art is subjective, right? And we could certainly sit here and mince, mince words here and split hairs about anything that we thought versus what you were really trying to do, because art is subjective. But at the same time, there are some absolutes in vision. Do you know what I mean? There are some absolutes. A perfect example of this is a running, probably since the first episode of this podcast, there is a running argument between our host and I, Johnny Wolfenstein, about the film Cabin in the Woods and its intent as what it was versus its attitude towards its fan base.
Right.
And the writers and creators of that film have been very forward of saying what it was. Now, if you took away something else from that, you could take whatever you want from any little piece of art. Every breath you take can be your wedding song, but it doesn't make it any less about, being a really weird stalking song.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, you can have what you want. People have told me a song of mine, that they love it. If they got married, it would be their wedding song. But it's about watching my ex-girlfriend have sex. Like it's not what,
with you. Yeah.
Yeah, it's not what you think it's.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. It's not what you think it's about. If you just hear the lyrics on the thing. So right now we have an opportunity as all being artists, which a lot of film podcasts aren't. You know what I mean? All understanding the way it is. All understanding. Another good example of this for years, people would hear my voice and say, "Oh, you must like Cake, or you must like Soul Coffin." And at the time, I liked them fine, but it wasn't what I was coming from. I like Leonard Cohen. that's where I was going. I like Nick Cave, and eventually I grew to hate those fucking guys because I was sick of people saying that's obviously my favorite band. So, and you can be honest, and I'm not here to split hairs, but this is a unique opportunity. This doesn't happen after, what I mean, like something. We are usually pretty front-loaded in the sense where we generally have our friends on, and we already know they're our friends because we met them because we already liked what they did. We sought out to be their friend, not like you, where we're this is a really unique situation, and I have the feeling that we're all gonna be friends here. But was there anything that our take versus your take was just fucking wrong? You
mean on your take on the movie versus my take?
Yeah, like versus your vision. For instance, like. I had cited that you were obviously influenced by Tim Burton. Now, I never in 100 years had the opportunity for you to turn around and say, no, I fucking hate that guy.
Right. Yeah, no, okay, I see where you're going. Well, first of all, let me try to, I didn't I listened to your review once, the day that you did it. After
Sure,
you
sure,
did it.
sure.
So I do recall, as I was listening to it, there were a few things that, boy, they got that wrong,
Yeah.
Which is what I want to know now.
Well, I'm just trying to remember off the top of my head. If I recall, you did make some Tim Burton references, which was interesting, and it's like, well, I was trying to figure out. Okay, I was trying to figure out. You said there was a shot that reminded you of Tim Burton or something, and
I remember
I'm
specifically
going,
what it was.
What shot was that you were talking about?
As Johnny and his crew walk into the theater with Reggie Bannister, and it's the way it's like a camera movement, a panning camera movement running down like to the stage.
Oh, a camera movement.
Like it was probably some sort of a crane shot, if I recall.
You talking about? Well, when they came into the theater, you mean when they were walking into the theater and listening to the singer?
Right, and they were on the stage, and as you got closer to it, you saw that there was obviously something. It wasn't him. Something was amiss.
Oh! He turned out to be a puppet.
Right.
Okay. No. Well, that whole thing didn't come out as well as I would have liked it. I wanted it to be a little bit more. Johnny is seeing it a certain way. In other words, what's really happening is it's a marionette on the stage.
Right.
And I wanted to do a tighter shot, but believe it or not, and this is not to make any excuses, but when we were shooting the movie, Panavision, the company that got us the cameras, they had such a high run on almost all of their anamorphic lenses were out on bigger movies, much bigger movies, and we got a really great deal. So we could not get certain close-up lenses. Anamorphic lenses are the widescreen, 2:3:5:1 aspect ratio lenses, and they're very sought after. And so I had a very limited choice of lenses to use. That being said, what I should have done if I had the right lenses is I would have gone in much tighter on Johnny's eyes so that you see what he's thinking he's seeing, and that would be he's seeing his dad up there singing, and then you cut back and it's more like through his tears, and then you cut back and it's really just kind of the tears go away and it just turns out to be a mannequin. Anyway, I didn't really show that in the best way I could have. However, was it inspired by Tim Burton? No. I mean, I worked on a Tim Burton film. I knew Tim Burton we're both from Burbank, oddly enough. But when I worked at Disney Studios in the early 1980s in the mailroom, Tim was working on a little short film called Vincent, and it was a stop-motion film. And then he did a live-action version of Frankenweenie, which was the first thing he directed. And he was a young, kind of eccentric animator at the studio, and we all thought he was pretty cool. But then, I ended up being an actor in his movie Planet of the Apes. I played an ape. I didn't have any lines, but I was in the Army, and I was there for, a couple of months, and I was on the set every day, and I watched Tim Burton work, and it was really quite interesting to see how he worked. But I never go out of my way to steal anything. If I do it, it's only by, from, all the images that are stored in my head. But sometimes there's a fun way to present an idea or a concept, and you do it. Now, with Tim Burton, can't think of any, in my mind, to stock Tim Burton-type shots. I could think of Hitchcock. I could think of maybe Martin Scorsese, but I can't think of anything that Tim Burton does. It's really a trademark other than his weird art direction and that kind of thing,
I'm doing a Tim Burton thing now, so I was especially sensitive.
You?
Yeah, it's just
no, but I wasn't honestly trying to do anything on Tim Burton. And another one that I get compared to a lot for some weird reason is the Lost Skeleton of Cadavra. And I mean, the only reason why well, first of all, let me preface by saying I know the director. I know Larry. He's a friend of me. He actually is a friend of mine. But a whole separate note, what I've never told Larry, and that is when I get compared to that movie, I'm just a little bit insulted because, you know, Larry spent $60,000 on The Lost Skeleton of Cadavra. I spent almost $1 million on Johnny X. I went out of my way to give what I felt was the best looking film and the best quality presentation I can give. And what Larry did was extremely subpar and intentional. It was shot on a very low-end, you know, digital camera. You know, and I shot on the high-end Panavision cameras. I had Techno cranes when I needed them, and not all the time, but I was able to get some good cranes and camera equipment and steady cams. Larry is not a very visual director. He's not a visual director at all, but he does do interesting stuff, and he writes really well. You know, his gags are, you know, they're monotonous. You know, it's kind of like a one-gag thing.
Right.
But, you know, once you've seen 5 or 10 minutes of the movie, you've seen the whole thing, you know. I mean, in a sense, the gag. Sorry, Larry. I hope he's not listening to this.
Right. He's
I
gonna be
love
on
Larry.
next
Look,
week.
I've been in 2 of Larry's movies. You know, I've been in my wife costume designed a couple of his films. So you know, I really am serious when I say I know him. But you know, I hate it when I get irked when I'm compared to The Lost Skeleton of Cadavra. I think they only compare it because they think I'm trying to do this 50s thing. And I'll give you a little clue that, you know, I usually don't tell people, and that is, believe it or not, my movie does not take place in any particular time period.
Wolfie picked up on that, actually.
Yeah, you did, and I was amazed. That was interesting because my movie does not take place in the 50s or the 60s or the 70s, but I used sensibilities for all of those time periods and put them in the movie. It's sort of... I wanted it to be an anytime kind of thing because, yes, there are digital cameras in the movie. Paul Williams has a little pierced ear, if you notice. There's a little, the dwarfs, the midget concession guys, they have water bottles, and those were not around in the past. You know, so.
The Rock and Roll Hall of Fame was mentioned.
I mean, trust me, if I were doing a period piece, I would have been... and it surprises me when people think, oh, this movie is set in the 50s, and I'm going, geez, you know. I guess I kind of screwed up there, you know, because it was only supposed to be the gang was supposed to have this 50s sort of vibe going on.
Well, the soda jerk thing was kind of an anchor, too, a bit.
But, yeah. But everybody was in, you know, we all had these crazy cars and everything. So, yeah, you would think that it was a period piece.
No,
but those were the only things as far as what you got wrong and compared to what I felt that, you know, my intent was completely other than there was no Tim Burton tributes in my film. I like Tim Burton's work. The thing that I like about Tim's work mainly is his kind of his characters and his villainous characters and some of the monologues and the way he pits them up against each other and the dramatics involved. It's not. I don't really see a lot in his filmmaking style that I notice that much, believe it or not.
I agree with you 100% in that sense.
Yeah, I just don't see any particular style there. But I mean, he's an art director. A friend of mine went to Cal Arts with him, and the film teacher assigned everybody they were going to make a movie, and they said, okay, my friend Brett, okay, Brett, you are the director. Tim, you are the art director. And Tim was like, wait a minute, I want to be the director. And it's like, no, Tim, you are an art director. That is your strong point. And I think he never forgot that, and he always wanted to be a director and prove himself. But Tim is a wonderful, brilliant artist. He can draw amazing, cool, dark, creepy stuff, and that's his background in animation. He worked on Walt Disney production Fox and the Hound, for God's sake, you know, I mean, which was not a very good animated film, but I mean, he was an artist on that, and the Black Cauldron and all of that stuff. But you know, he got out of that and into animation, into filmmaking pretty quick.
Interesting.
And you know, the only thing that may give it that Tim Burton feel is the music. Okay, the guy that did the musical score, his name is Ego Plum. And Ego Plum is probably the closest thing to Danny Elfman that you're going to out there.
Okay.
Ego knows Danny Elfman, and he knows Richard, and he's working on a project right now with Danny Elfman called The Forbidden Zone 2.
Oh, yeah. We're big fans of the
original. They're
original.
doing a sequel.
Yeah.
And Ego is going to do, Danny's going to score some pieces, and Ego is going to pick it up and do, as a matter of fact, if you've seen the trailer for Forbidden Zone 2, that's even though they say it's Danny's music, it's all Ego Plum's arrangements and everything on there. He did all of that stuff.
Yeah, we saw the fundraising campaign that Richard Elfman was doing
and Richard is a friend of mine. He was actually at the premiere screening of Johnny X at Universal, and Richard. Actually, there was a little tribute to Forbidden Zone in Johnny X, and that's the fantasy diner with the cardboard cutout tables and stuff.
Sure.
And we went up to Richard afterwards and said, "Hey, Richard, did you notice anything look familiar?" And he said, "Nope." Maybe he fell asleep. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe.
But no, it's interesting. And the only other director that was visiting the set that you probably know who he is was Don Coscarelli.
Yeah.
And Don came and visited the set because, of course, he's great friends with Reggie. And Don came because he had never seen real process rear plate, photography being done before. He's never done it, and he wanted to see how that was. And then he showed up when Reggie was in the car singing at the end of the movie, and he watched some of that. And Don told me later that he said, "Oh, I thought I was going to go to the set, and I was going to be bored. I've seen 100. I've been on hundreds of sets, and it's boring." And then all of a sudden, you roll the cameras, and the playback comes on, and he's like, "Oh, it's a musical," So he thought he got a kick out of that. He had no idea that we were doing a musical, so he had a lot of fun on his visit that day.
Oh, that's fun, yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I'll just wrap it up by saying, that's pretty much all I picked up on from what you guys said. The comparisons that I get all the time to Larry Blomeyer. The only reason why that irks me is because Larry's quality is in a different league, and I apologize to Larry.
Yeah, I don't think that's the comparison at all. I don't think that anyone would ever compare the look of the film to, aside from the fact they're both in black and white. I don't think anyone that knows anything about anything would ever compare the look, the lighting, the texture of the film to Larry's work.
No, I mean whether it was by design or not, like Skeleton looks completely blown out, right? Which is probably
Have you guys seen all of Larry's films or some of them?
I've seen the 2 Skeleton movies and Dark and Stormy Night.
Yeah. Well, I'm in the second Skeleton movie. Just at the end for a second, I'm one of the 3 Cantaloupe Tribes guys.
Nice.
And I'm standing. There's a shot of us standing at the end of the movie, and we're just standing there like the 3 Stooges.
Yep.
And I was on the set. That was kind of a fun movie to make because my wife did all the costumes for that, and she also did all the costumes for Johnny X. But one thing about the resurrection suit in Johnny X. And one final thing I want to say about Kevin McCarthy's Devo hat. Did you guys pick up on the Devo hat thing?
Yeah, I thought it was great.
Absolutely, yeah.
Now I'm sure you all probably thought, oh, they're trying to put in this reference to Devo. Okay. Believe it or not, I have no interest in Devo, and that was completely Kevin McCarthy's idea.
We're not friends anymore.
That's
no,
cool.
I love.
That's
well,
cool.
as far as Devo, I mean, look. I know Devo, and I'm aware of them from another friend of mine who actually sculpted their original hats.
Really?
Wow,
cool. Yeah, but as far as coming up with the idea, I don't like to steal, ideas from other. I mean, I thought that was too iconic. But Kevin felt that the judge should have a hat of some kind, and I said, oh, okay, because we didn't have a hat for his costume, and I said, why don't you, come up with some ideas and let us know. And then about a week later, he mails a tear sheet to the costume designer, my wife, and there was a caricature of Devo, and he circled their hats, and he said, these are interesting. And we said, he likes Devo, does he? Well, I wonder if we can incorporate a Devo hat into this. So we, based on Kevin's suggestion, went ahead and gave him what he thought was interesting. We came up with a Devo hat, and that's how that happened. And the resurrection suit looks really awesome when you see the thing in person. I mean, that thing, first of all, it weighs about 75 pounds. And Will Keenan hated wearing it. He got really angry and bitchy-moany when he had to wear that thing. Sorry, Will, but he really did. And it was hot and uncomfortable, and but it had a lot of wiring and lights. It was very intricate, and there were lots of lights on the thing, and it really did light up. But you don't see a lot of that because we ended up putting animation over the top of it,
Right.
so that you see most of that. That is CGI. Some of the only CGI that's in the movie. Originally, we were going to hand draw that, but so we took a lot of time and expense to do things a certain way. I was always going for quality when I could. We had a first-rate score and the sound mix and all of that stuff. You said something about the sound not sounding good or something. Was that you guys or was that somebody else?
I don't think it was us. I think actually all the technical pieces, I think everybody agreed were spot on. It was great. It was more, I think our contention was with the musical piece of it for me personally.
Your contention,
but but I think with some other folks, it was somewhat the acting. I don't think that I think it felt a little campy in places, and it doesn't
you gave me the acting thing, and that's another thing that I personally, I felt that the acting pretty much works, and the only campiness is in that one character of Lily, who is Reggie Bannister's girlfriend. The Heather Provost actress played Lily.
Yeah.
And she was doing it a little more cartoony, but for the most part, they were like, yeah, cool, daddy-o, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
But that I made sure though when I directed the movie, I directed it like I was making a real serious drama. Never once did I say, hey, let's try to be funny here. I always said it must be real. You must take your time with the speeches, and don't rush through it. So
see, I find that interesting because to me, and again, it's subjective, right? So you may actually interpret this in a completely different way than I do. You may just not see what I'm saying. But when I see this, I see almost everybody acting over the top. The Johnny character, kind of especially. I mean, to put a finer point on it, the ending.
Well, Johnny's pretty subdued compared to what Will Keenan usually does.
Sure.
Yeah, he is. But to me, the whole thing feels like it's on stage.
He actually acted in your movie.
Like a musical number on stage. And that sort of stage acting isn't necessarily campy, but it's a different type of acting than
it
screen
is.
acting.
I see what you're saying. It basically doesn't come off as the realistic kind of cool underplayed acting that we get today with young kids on TV.
Yeah, I mean, take something like Switchblade Sisters, for example. Like, that was that kind of gang mentality and that kind of, like, tough guy mentality, but it wasn't campy at all. It wasn't stagey
Are you sure?
at all. It was, but it wasn't it wasn't like a stage play.
Yeah, I think campy's not the word that you're certainly looking for. I think
it's not.
What I took from this is that, and I've only been on the technical end of any sort of stage production ever. But it sort of had that like act towards the person in the last row sort of thing. I think that's
playing it a little broader.
Yeah, I think that which I think is fine, and generally I prefer that. I'm not like a method actor sort of cat, but it's just so interesting.
Well, it was a choice. It definitely was a choice. As a matter of fact, I remember once when we were directing, I was, working at the drive-in, and it had been a few months, in 2004 since we shot, and my VP, Francisco Bulgarelli, said, Paul, they're not acting the same as before. And I said, what do you mean? He said, well, the style of acting is too real, you've got to, it doesn't seem, he just was making a little comment. And I said, you're right. So I sat down and I worked with him because I wanted to keep everything consistent. But, the one thing about Will Keenan is that he was extremely underplayed as far as what he normally does, because he could be really over the top.
Oh, yeah.
And he's a crazy kind of...
I like him.
In real life, he's a very calm sort of... He's kind of almost like Johnny X. And he told me he only cried... This was the only time he cried real tears in a movie. When he was... And I'm telling you, he was. When he was in that room doing the monologue about his dad, he was really crying. And, we had only a couple of people in there. We cleared out the set. All of that was shot on different sound stages, and all of those sets. But he cried, and he keeps he always, when we do a Q&A for the movie, he gets on my case and says, "Oh man, if I only could have." He said he basically says that he phoned in his role on my film, and I said, "What are you talking about?" He said, "Well, he wasn't, he had just finished Chop, and he thought he was done acting, and he was producing movies in India at the time." And he didn't really want to come back and finish Johnny X. He tried to talk me into getting somebody else. But I said, well, we've already shot a third of the movie with you. Would you please just finish this thing?
On film, yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yes, and he did. He finished it, of course. But, you know, he always regretted not giving a broader performance. And I said, no way. I said, that's exactly how I wanted you to be, more like a James Dean underplayed kind of Marlon Brando from The Wild One, not this crazy Hepcat, because you would have looked like a cartoon freak.
I thought you were going to say not crazy fat Marlon Brando.
well, not that either. But you know, because he always comments on Deanna Joy Brooks' performance and how brilliant he felt that she was. Yeah. And I said, well, that's she was supposed to be like that. That's how I wanted her to be. But I wanted you to be the calm, cool guy here, you know. And but to this day, he really regrets not being able to be more cartoony, and I just said, honey, believe me, I would never have let him do it anyway.
Sure. Yeah. It's interesting because I thought he was great in it. So
he was. I really think he was good. You know, he's a very serious, he's thinking all the time. He doesn't say a lot, but you could see it in his eyes. He's thinking.
Yeah, those are some of my favorite scenes, actually. The more subdued scenes when they first introduced, not that it was particularly subdued, but when they first introduced Mickey O'Flynn, when he was doing his monologue, when Johnny X was doing his monologue afterwards, those scenes actually felt less like a stage play to me, even though they probably, by their actual design, were probably more like a stage play. But I don't know. Again, there were high and low points in this movie to me, but me personally, this is tiny. Me personally, I'm just not a fan of stage plays. Like, I'll go and I'll watch one and I'll enjoy it while I'm there, but something it's just not in me for some reason.
I totally understand. I understand that. I could appreciate that, and the choice with the music. I mean, look, music can make or break. There's so many different kinds of music out in the world, and you either like something or you don't. And I've gotten a lot of criticism from people that felt that if only the music had been more hard rock or rockabilly, that would have been really cool. That would have made the movie work. Now others like the movie, but the music. But I mean, I went for a choice. I was going for West Side Story because, as I mentioned earlier in the interview, I am not a big musicals fan, but I do, for example, am a fan of West Side Story. So naturally, I went out and I tried to capture some. I mean, we're nowhere near West Side Story, of course, but I mean, I tried to go for that sort of thing, more of the stagey. Yeah, I mean, the musical numbers are absolutely stagey. I mean, it looks like they're let's put on a show kind of a thing.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, they don't always work, but I'll tell you, my favorite musical number that I think does work is These Lips That Never Lie. I think that one doesn't seem too, you know, musical theater-ish to me. I mean, it just seems a little fun and kind of sexy, and you know, I mean, you could see Britney Spears doing a cover of it or something.
Sure. I think if people go, maybe this was our problem, right? I think if people go into this expecting it to be a modern take on Rocky Horror Picture Show or something like that, they're going to be disappointed because it's not that. I think if
absolutely, and people think that. I mean, they think that's what they're going to see, and then you know, it's not what it is.
Yep.
Although I will say that I brought the movie to Portland, Oregon, over Valentine's Day, you know, this year, and they screened it right before Rocky Horror. And they've run Rocky Horror over there since it was a brand new movie, and they've done the shadow casting since it was, you know, practically new.
Yeah, sure.
And a lot of the Rocky Horror kids came and saw Johnny X, and they really dug it. You know, I mean, they said it wasn't what we were expecting, but it was in some ways better. You know, so it has an audience. It has fans out there. The problem with the film right now is that not enough people know about its existence to be able to say I like it or hate it, because it's only been on Netflix. It's come out in a very small theatrical release. It played, you know, for a week out here in Los Angeles. It's played at IFC Center in New York and, you know, different theaters here and there. But, you know, my goal is to get the thing on cable TV, and when it gets onto cable TV, hopefully we make that deal soon. More people are going to be able to love it or hate it, and you guys will be justified or you know, redeemed or what have you.
And again,
you know,
it's subjective. You are going to find I firmly believe that you're going to find a wide audience for this.
Here's what's funny too, Paul. Like again, I said I went back and listened to the review. I think we had some definite some glowing praise buried in there. You said a funny term about gangbanging a movie. I'll just speak for myself, but what I'm really saying is and I don't think anybody that knows us as a band or a radio entity would disagree. We're bad people. We're not nice. We're not nice people. And if you want to see us like really destroy a movie, go look for the episode where we reviewed Dear God No. That was a movie that we hated.
Dear God No.
Right.
Yes.
No, I understand. Look, I'm happy to address, and I'm glad that you didn't think it was so bad that you wouldn't want to speak with me.
No.
It's always interesting to get another take on things.
Sure.
And again, to address for me, and maybe the same for you, it's interesting to meet the people that oppose the film, and to have a conversation.
It
with
takes
them.
a lot of, and I gotta give you credit where credit is due too. It takes a lot of balls to have even come on. When I
Ron Jeremy said that to me once. He said Ron Jeremy.
Ron Jeremy said it took a lot of balls for him to come on.
He looked at me. I was at a party with Will Keenan. They were having a Sundance party, and in the early days after we cut the trailer, and Ron Jeremy came up to me. He was there, and he saw the trailer for Johnny X, and he looked down at my crotch, and he goes, "You got big balls." And I said, "What? I just want to see if you got big balls." And he says, "It takes balls, the big balls, to make a black and white musical." That's all he said.
Nice.
And I said, "Oh, okay, thanks, Ron." And then he tried to get into the movie, like, "Do you have any parts?" And I said, "No, I don't think so."
Put that on the poster.
And then I proceeded to wash my hands. But anyway, it was great. And look, sometimes you have to have big balls, and you just have to go out and put yourself out there and just do what you feel is right. Just like I felt that making this movie a good, fun, light, magical thing as opposed to a dark, gruesome, ghastly thing. I felt it was the right thing to do. Now we're so far away from, we've got other issues going on in the world, but I still think it's good to put positive vibes out into the world, when you can. And it's not a washed down goody two shoes movie. If you look at the film, there's things in there like there's like raunchiness in there, just hidden between the cracks.
I mean, Sluggo's parts where he goes bad they're pretty bad.
They're pretty dark.
Dark.
He turns on a dime. That's true, but I mean, you've got the girls having orgasms in cars. I mean, look. I mean, it's not G-rated, but then again, it's done with kind of a playful innocence that is still never too ugly. That's really the bottom line of Johnny X, and that's what I was going for. So I hope that all of you listeners out there will seek the movie out on Netflix. And I want to just say that if you, and I have this deal running through the end of June, if somebody out there sees the movie, actually this is an Amazon deal. You buy a copy of the movie on Amazon, and you review it on Amazon, or if you just want to review it on the IMDb, and it's hopefully a good review, and you send me a picture on my Facebook page holding the DVD or something and smiling, we'll post it, and then I will send you an autographed poster for the movie.
Nice.
That deal is going, but you have to contact us through the Johnny X Facebook page,
awesome.
The Ghastly Love of Johnny X.
Yep.
So we still have that deal going through the end of the month, and again, it's basically you leave a review on Amazon or IMDb, and we'll send you a poster, and it's mainly for fans of the movie. Not
it's fucking great, right?
That's very cool. And so anyone out there, if you haven't seen Johnny X yet, go ahead. It's on Netflix. Ghastly Love of Johnny X. And then if you dig it, you can go ahead and leave a positive review and do what Paul said. And the thing I got to say, Paul, is despite having some polarizing views on the film, I think I got to say that I think you have 5 new fans of you.
Well, look, guys, if every movie was great, it would be a boring world, wouldn't it?
Exactly, and that's the thing. Taste is subjective. Tiny doesn't like musicals, so already he probably wasn't going to like the film.
Tiny also doesn't like leaving the house for what it's worth. So I don't know that I would. And the
well,
other
maybe
guy,
you would like my 1994 experimental film called That Little Monster. That
I'm
was,
really intrigued by that. Actually,
Look at it right now.
It's another weird. It's not again. That movie has a lot of flaws, and it's only like 56 minutes. But it was an experimental film, and
it's got Reggie Bannister in it too, right?
Reggie's in it, and it's just kind of a weird little puppet baby movie.
Nice.
Sounds interesting.
But nothing like Johnny X. Nothing like Johnny X.
I mean, if I could digress for one more minute too, you also have to remember that the person who was the most venomous to you, Paul, I don't even know that his parents know that we let him out from the little cell underneath their stairs. Like he's not even a real life person. So don't worry about what he says.
Well, let me also make a point. He actually leaned over to me as he was leaving, and he said, "Make sure you tell Paul I said thank you." So I don't know what that sound is, but
that was his spirit.
yes, exactly. But like I said, so despite our feelings about the film, I think you've made, like I said, 5 fans because you're a real stand-up guy. We really appreciate you taking the time to talk to us and just talking about the making of the film and filmmaking in general. And it's been a real blast. And that's one of the things we like to do is to talk about the creative process on this show.
Yeah. Yep.
And we want to highlight people who are passionate about what they do. And that's something you've done without a shadow of a doubt. You've highlighted that you're a very passionate guy. You enjoy making films, and I think the world could do better with having more people like you in it.
Well, thanks so much. I really appreciate that. You're right on my wavelength there, because I will say in closing that, if I had listened to the naysayers, and there were tons of naysayers telling me, forget it, you're never going to get the money to finish this thing. Oh, shoot it on digital, make a short film out of it. If I had listened to all the people telling me I couldn't do it and I wasn't going to do it, this movie would never have gotten finished. You have to, anyone out there that wants to do anything creative, a movie, a song, anything, you have to follow your heart and your dream, and you can't listen to people tell you cannot do it.
Right on.
You got it.
Even if you do the damn thing and you fail at it, I mean, there's no such thing as failure if you accomplish it.
Yeah, man.
So don't sell out. Don't give up on your dreams. And just go for it, man, because we only have one life to do, what we want to do, and we don't want to have regrets at the end of our life going, oh, I wish I had done so-and-so, So, and that's what Johnny X was all about for me. It was fighting on and never giving up on this thing, even when it seemed like it was almost impossible. But I visualized that somehow it was just going to happen somehow. I didn't know how, but I just think that I just thought about it so much that it came to me. It just happened. I don't know. The universe opened up or something. But
there you go. Yep.
You guys can do it. We can all do this.
Speaking our language, man.
Absolutely.
Our fake manager quit this week and said he's bored with us. I know where you're coming, huh?
No. What do you mean? I'm bored with you?
No. I said our fake manager quit. Managing us this week and said that he's bored with us.
Yeah, what do they know? Look, just do your thing and don't, just do what's good and keep getting better, and everything you do, make it better, improve yourself. Don't just keep it on one level, because look, I learned a lot of lessons from Johnny X, and even when I listen to your comments I know which comments of yours to listen to that I take seriously and the ones that I kind of tune out. The ones that are constructive criticism, I do file that in the back, because I do remember things that people like and generally people don't like, and I hope that I can make another project that people will like even more. So we as artists have to learn and grow from our mistakes, and just, it's trial and error, right? So, but, you can't, but the one thing is for sure, you cannot do something that pleases everyone.
No.
Because if you do what I like to call the too many chefs version, which means that if you get all of your friends, let's say that you make a movie, and all of your friends give you different notes on what they thought was wrong with it, what it needed, what to cut out, what to add back. If you incorporate all of those notes, you will have a clusterfuck of a film.
There you go.
It's just, it's the too many chefs version. You have to stay true to your vision and just give it your best shot, and learn from your mistakes if you can. Nobody's perfect. So
absolutely,
those are my parting words of advice to
Thank
anybody
you
out
so
there that
much.
wants to do anything.
Yeah, it's been a real pleasure to have you on the show, Paul, and we appreciate you reaching out and having the discussion with us. And we'll certainly be on the lookout for anything you do in the future. Let us know if there's ever a time you want to come on and talk about anything. We'd be more than happy to have you back. So you
bet, guys.
Please feel free to use us however you need, man.
From my bottom to my heart, I thank you.
Paul Bunnell.
All right, you take care now.
Yeah, you take care. Thanks again.
Thanks, Paul.
Right,
bye-bye.
Bye.
He made an ally in the Deadites tonight, that's for sure. I'd say.
Yep.
He really spoke to me.
He spoke to all of us. He was on the show.
Well, you're on the show every single week, and I don't even know what you say half the time.
Fair.
This is another one of those where it's like, we're not very good at being nice, so I don't know what to say.
Yeah, I mean, he makes a good point too. It's like there's no shortage of people in this world that want you to revel in the same mediocrity that they're reveling in. You know, so I mean, just yeah.
Oh man, it's really, if I could tell you the amount of people that told me that this is a time right now from May 31st on that this is when Tiny and I should hang up the mask and the 6-shooter. Like, this is when it is. It's more than ever have. You know, for different reasons. And, you know, like, that just makes me want to fight more. That just makes me want to do more awesome stuff. You know, and I hope that in a kind of a verse way, we did that, you know? Because, you know, all jokes aside about Monster Zero, even in his own way, we were completely honest, you know?
Yeah, I mean, and I you know, like I said, I mean, I pretty much said it to him, like, it was ballsy of him to get in touch with us. It takes balls.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I would tons of balls.
I would have come in fucking swinging.
Yeah, no, you absolutely would have, and that's not an indictment against you. No. That's more of like a talking about what a kind of a person he is. You know,
I've done it. I shut down. Tiny will remember. I shut down Wormtown.org one day, taking on our detractors.
Yep.
You know, like I'm good at it. I'm a bad person. I'm not a good person. Paul seems like a great person.
Yeah.
That was.
He's a smart person too. It's like if somebody wants to talk about you with them. That's a freaking great idea.
Sure.
You know what I mean? It's just more publicity.
And the thing is, you know, there were, well, I liked the movie. 4 people didn't like the movie. So I mean, right there. But now it's turned around, and now we're all gonna look forward to what he does, and we think he's a absolutely. We're big fans of his now.
Yeah, and I hope that came across in the original review too. I know, like I was telling you, we're entertainers at the end of the day.
Right.
You know, we're not high-paid film critics. We get on, we talk about what we think, and at the end of the day, hopefully somebody gets something out of it and thinks it's funny. But I hope that in making those jokes, we didn't step over that line where we were no longer able to separate what we thought about the movie from what we thought about the fact that he produced the movie, that he created the movie rather, and that he decided to shoot it on film. There's so many things here that are amazing, and I feel like I said all those things. I hope those didn't fall by the wayside because of the rest of that review.
Right.
Also, you know what I think we should do, even if we have to pull our money together, I think we should go ahead and buy Johnny X on DVD, Blu-ray.
That's fair.
We'll all buy
and
one.
take a picture. We'll do
a
grouping.
We'll take a picture.
Let's pull our money and buy Paul's print on 35.
Nice.
Yes.
And we'll have Josh Gravel
play it.
He reminded me of Josh actually a lot.
I think it's something mainly. I mean, you guys might not watch the film again. Who knows? But just having a copy.
I did already.
I'd like to watch it again.
I did.
But we'll get if he wants to give us a poster, we'll get a poster and put it up here in the studio somewhere.
I like that.
We'll hang it up. And
I don't know how it works. Turn it on Netflix and walk away. If you really don't like it, like I like that dude, like, and that helps that algorithm.
I mean, here's the thing, right? One of the best ways that you can create new fans is by fucking engaging with them.
Right.
You know what I mean? And that's what he just did. You come on, you engage with the people that may or may not have loved it, and all of a sudden it's just like, shit, maybe I should go back and watch that.
I think he fucking learned us a lesson.
Sure. Well, I mean, here's the deal too. Like I've said this, I like negative reviews. Like as long as we got one bad one, just one bad. We didn't get a lot, but we got one bad one for the Big Scary Monster, and it was just about illegible.
Yeah,
it was
actually
nonsensical.
Yeah,
but
it wasn't even bad.
Johnny and I kind of worked on a project for somebody once, and I got notes that 50% of them were the best thing that happened to me, and 50% of them were this dude didn't know. 50% of them was my herald out of my opening the door out of the project because I knew the person with the money didn't understand, and that happens. I do love to mix it up, but I wouldn't have had the class to come in and you know what I mean, like and be so classy. Yeah. And you guys, me, Tiny, and Wolfie went and saw a film on yesterday, right? And now, what would have happened if the producer of that took the negative stuff of his first film and just got out of the business, right? Didn't produce another film.
Yep.
this is my message to everybody out there that is watching and loves us, and not to worry, even though things are kind of bad right now. And I'm really enlightened by this interview we had, because you can't kill people like Paul. You can't kill Steven Scalata. You can't kill the Deadites, because we're not in it to win it. We're in it to love it. Mm-hmm. And at the end of the day, nothing's going to make me not love the Deadites. Not people telling me I should call it quits. Not low club attendance. Not anybody else. Not even the fucking Deadites some days could make me not love the Deadites. You know? Because I went out shopping for other Deadites, so fuck everybody that's not at this table.
Let me read. Rocky just had a nice point in the chat room here. He says, "Yeah, some people, myself included, deal with criticism better than praise. But if you never ask questions, you'll never know, and that keeps you stunted." So
sure.
I think that's a good point. So
yeah, I think it's great. And
I mean, complacency, and if you're an artist, complacency is your worst enemy ever. Yeah. Absolutely the worst thing that can, we can probably name a half dozen directors that turned to shit just because they did something great.
Sure.
You know?
I mean, there's a common thread with the people who have become our friends versus who maybe we didn't have on another time. Mike Neal loves what he does. Jim Smith loves what he does. And we have a love affair with that sort of energy in the ether, I think. I think it's like the primary thing with us, and it's why we connect with these people. They're fucking dicks. They were dicks to me tonight. But Bill and Chris love what they do from outside the cinema, and it's just like that's why those people, are such a big part of our life in, the thing. That's why, the like Henry and Chris and all these other people like are putting out things about, Rotary game stuff right now because we all love positive energy, and it's fucking great. It's a fucking great thing to be part of. Win, lose, or draw, it's you can't kill people who love it. I can kill Michael Ravenshadow.
Hey, right.
But I don't know if I can do it before he kills himself.
Right.
That's true. Yeah.
What's the over and under?
Which one's the good one?
I gotta drive home.
So we actually should probably wrap up. We do have one voicemail. It's
oh, good. Is it? I have some words for Sir Izzy. Is it him?
No.
What?
It's not.
Who's that fucking dude?
I don't know. So.
Let's hear it.
So yeah, let's.
I am psyched. I can't wait. I bet you it's a listener. I'm so excited.
Yep, it's might be a listener. I don't even know who this comes from, but we don't have that. This is it. So there's no trick or tweet. We have no email. So we're just gonna play this.
I think we broke Ravenshadow's heart.
Yeah. You want to just say it?
Yeah.
You trying to tell me there's no trick or tweet?
That was the bane that broke the Ravenshadow's back.
Oh,
that's right.
Snoop.
All right, so let's play this voicemail.
Warning, you have entered a restricted area. You have 30 seconds to enter your passcode, or area defenses will be activated. Passcode verified. Lift doors now opening. Welcome to the Tactical Experiment Subterranean Testing Installation. Select destination. Prepare for testy descent.
What's going on?
I don't know.
Cybernetics and robotics. Have an evil, shitty day, Southern Revenger.
Oh!
Well, hello again, fellas. Oh, shit. Guess you wasn't expecting to hear from me so soon, if at all. But that's part of what brings me here today. You see, the council I sit on, they didn't think that our last little introduction time really sprung forth the fervor and zeal needed to make the Deadites want to spring into action. Well, except for Tiny there, it was kind of nice to hear him lock and load and sounding so cute like he was actually going to do something. Then he shot himself, so that was pretty funny. Anyway, if we just take a little wander over here for a minute. We're just going to wander over here to this here testing laboratory so you can get you a nice little look-see for yourself, right? Well, good evening, Felicia. Is there a chance we can get in and see the good doc? You see, fellas, Felicia here's been here since about, 09? Personal assistant receptionist for the doc now, but originally came in the first wave of our superhuman experiments. We had the entire jaw replaced with a laser-sharpened titanium alloy and a locking
What'd you
mechanism.
do?
And then the esophagus and the lungs are sprayed with a protoplasmic gel, allows for the tissue to expand and contract. It's better
What the?
than natural human standards. Anyway, pretty crazy stuff. Say hello to the fellas, Felicia. Hi, guys. Felicia is good people, man. But I tell you what, one of the most dangerous motherfuckers you ever gonna have to face up to. I tell you what, get some jaw locked down and good suction going, pull your brain right out your butthole. Oh, Dynamo just loves Felicia. Come on, Dynamo, let's go.
Why are you
Well,
laughing?
allow me to introduce you to the illustrious, magnanimous Dr. Percival Ulysses Santiago Yoshimitsu. We just call him Pussy for short, but everybody around here loves Pussy. Hell, even sometimes Felicia kind of likes old Pussy there. Anyway, Doc, say hello to the Deadeye. Hola. Oh, yeah, you don't say too much. Ain't that right, Doc? No, he just putters around here with ginormous cranium functioning at higher capacity than the average superhuman, doing feats of scientific incredibility like you never seen.
Does he have a super team down there?
One of those pieces we're going to show you right now are what we like to call the first wave. We can get this door open here. Now see here, fellas, this is the Sodomoid 6K.
Oh.
Woo, son! A more beautiful piece of scientific advancement you ain't never seen. Boy, look at this. Look at this. This is a chromatic subsonic plating on the exoskeleton here. See, it's beautiful, son. Inside, there's a microfusion charging device that emits more power than whole sun. And then, this is the piece of resistance here. This is a titanium tip fracture propulsion piston device, or as we like to call it, it's PP. Anyway, this thing emits more pressure per square inch. Bam! Whoo, son, you don't even know. You don't even know. But I tell you what, you will know right here in just a moment. Yeah, you fellas don't know down here in the robotics department, we have a lot of fun working on some androids that gonna be seeing you real soon. But we ain't gonna talk about that today. No, right here, the pompous, pretentious Sir Isaac Bot.
Cheerio.
Yeah, he's a little piece of shit. What you gonna do?
I am a bad man. Would you like my ding dong?
Anyway, if we just get down here and align the telescopic viewing sensors at the tip of the piston here, there we go. And the AI is functioning at proper parameters according to the computer here. Well, we're just gonna set him off in the direction of old Sir Isaac Bot over there and see if his crumpet gets teed.
Sodomoid activated. Searching rectal target parameters. Target acquired. Sir Isaac.
Hey, Felicia, would you like
Engage.
to get Dynamo here and get him over somewhere out of the way? He's gonna be in the way. We're gonna, Dynamo, be a good boy, sit over there, okay? Yeah, give him some Twinkies or something. He'll be all right.
Oh,
look at that bastard.
oh dear, my bang is being matched.
Holy shit, son. Yeah.
Warning.
Oh, son.
Safety control signal lost.
Look at that. What's going
Acquiring
on?
new target.
That ain't right.
Dynamo.
That ain't right at
Searching
all.
by an
Oh,
file.
shit.
Warning. Sodomoid no longer operating under safety parameters.
Dynamo. Member of Deadites. Known enemy.
Back here. Dynamo.
Largest asshole.
Oh, shit.
Target acquired.
No.
Engage.
Dispatching automated defense and containment protocol.
Dynamo, run, son. Run, son. Oh. Dynamo, no. Oh,
Commencing
man.
test you lockdown procedure.
Doc, where are you going? You get your ass back here, boy. No, pussy, you get back here. Damn, I hate when pussy up and run off. You get your ass on back here, pussy. Open this damn door. Oh, hell no. Now you just back up, son. You just back up.
I got this.
Final section point.
Oh, hell, this ain't gonna be good. Holy titty fucking Buddha. status report?
Containment failure. Result. 4 Sodomite models have escaped the facility.
Smells like bacon and ass.
Is the Southern Revenger no longer a threat?
But so there's 4 sodomizing robots let loose. Is that what's going on?
I couldn't tell if they're all
Hey,
destroyed.
hey, look at me. Take off your stupid little glasses for a minute. and Look at me. You think this is funny?
No.
You think somebody comes and threatens us and this is funny?
No.
Do you think we're in any fucking condition to take care of a real threat right now? A fucking
Let's
one
throw him at him.
one fucking werewolf wanders in here and it looks like Queen Con's tampon out there. And you think that we are in any fucking position to like? Did you see the Deadites on the 31st?
I was there.
Yeah. Do you think that Deadites is going to be able to fight fucking sodomizing giant robots?
Better fucking sit down.
How long is it going to take the one Miss M who's in any sort of condition to defend herself right now, one tiny white, to go down?
How long?
Let's put it this way: they
I'm not
show
going
up
down to any
now.
thought
They
of my
show up
robot.
now in Monster Zero, and you are the only ones here. What's going to happen? Johnny can defend himself a little bit.
Maybe you know what? Well, you know what?
A little
Not a
bit
lot.
with
Don't
butter
give him
knives.
too much credit.
Well, we'll talk it out. We will address our critics, much like Paul Bunnell.
Shut up.
Shut up. I hope they come and fucking gangbang you.
We're gonna throw you out first.
Dude!
You're
I'll
just
tell you
fucking
what.
clone
You
anyway.
better hope that Southern Revenger gets wrapped up in that Joey Tron, Sir Isaac
Menage a trois.
drama that's taking them out of our fucking backyard because
Dr.
we're,
Joey Tron.
we're one supervillain away from noticing us right now from being fucking all done.
Yeah.
And it's a fucking joke to you. It's comedy. Haha, fucking the poor pig got killed. It's a fucking joke.
No!
He wanted to do something with the pig.
Yeah.
They would eat the fucker.
Yeah, good work.
Unbelievable.
Can we go? Can we go now?
Yeah, yeah.
This is fucking. I'm so
What did
pissed
I
off
do?
right now.
This is a good way to end.
I'm
the
not
show.
unpissed off at you because you were laughing too. But at the end of the fucking day, like
I was laughing at how inept he seemed.
Yes.
we're
Yeah,
gonna.
that was like an MZ review. When it started, there were opening credits, and then after that, 2 guys were talking in the room. There was another guy.
Well,
They had
I'm impressed with the robotics division. I just don't know if it's around anymore. It sounded like it
Oh yeah,
got blown up or something. So maybe we don't have to worry about the robots.
With
No,
and here's another thing to think of. Say
sound
the
like they
Southern-
got released to me.
Yeah, though he lived apparently, right? Like he's part of something bigger than that. That is out there to get us, or at least is aware of us. Like, you know, this is a big deal.
What about the
We're here
don't we
talking
have-
about albums and live shows, and at the end of the day, like, when was the
do we have
last
to go
time?
to lockdown? We still have lockdown mode on this base, don't we?
No, we don't.
What
did-
fucking
we not
werewolves
pay?
wander in?
No, we don't.
Did that get repoed?
Ooh.
You got
Tiny,
raped.
Tiny, the person who owned 75% of us up and walked out. We haven't talked to our real manager in 6 months.
That's true. Yeah.
Half of the organization. When was the last time Oracle was here? When was the last time you even see Ethan McGloofabitz outside of when he needs to be somewhere?
That's true.
Antichrist.
They all have freaking day jobs now.
Yeah, but we're in terrible.
Because we can't pay them.
Yeah, we are in terrible
bad.
shape
Well,
to like turn back any sort of attack.
But this is good. I mean, the reason we're in such bad shape is there was nothing to kill.
Maybe we'll get
I
the
mean,
band back together, so to speak.
This could be good.
Well, I think we need to get our bearings. We had a jam-packed show. We reviewed the Seventh Curse, fucking batshit crazy movie that Luan.
Another movie that Raven Chad didn't watch.
I fucking watched it.
Yeah,
Basically.
He forwarded through scenes and then wrote down a description of what was on the screen.
No, I mean I don't know what happened. There's a lot of reading. I had the subtitles on.
Rocky says worldwide sodomy does bring perspective.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, no, I'm not fucking laughing about raping robots.
Raping robots.
That fucking scares me.
Raping robots. Raping robots. All right.
Lovely sentiment.
Tanya, any last thoughts? Oh, let me just finish up. So we talked about Seventh Curse. We had Paul Bunnell for an awesome interview.
Word.
And he had a great message to get out there.
Yes.
And then it was all fucking sullied by the Southern Revenger.
Yeah.
All right. So, Tanya, any last thoughts before we head out?
Shadow.
Oh.
Watch a movie.
Is that one of the robots?
Raven Shadow.
Didn't watch the movie.
Sounds like T-Pain.
I did watch the movie.
It's T White Pain.
Yeah.
There you go.
TW Pain.
Pretty good.
All right, well that's Tany's last thought. Raven Shadow? Any?
I fucking watched the movie.
I know. I could.
Yeah, because you read a fucking list of what happened. You list a plot.
You guys
synopsis.
left all that stuff out. No one mentioned the gawky white girl in the shower.
How did they kill the main bad guy?
No, we haven't. We didn't look. I forgot.
Yeah.
We're so engrossed in the
Here's the
interview.
thing about evil, Tiny. You can't kill it.
It lives on in the hearts and
in the
minds.
hearts and minds and the south.
Remember, children, wherever you go, there you are.
All right, everyone. Thank you for tuning in to episode 98. We may, well, actually, no. We will have an idea what we're going to do for episode 100. Hopefully, what we are working on will come to fruition, and it'll be a lot of fun, and we'll pay homage, as some say, to one of our legends.
Yeah, and maybe we'll have, one of our, maybe we'll have at least another Deadite hanging around.
Yeah, we'll see what we can do for that. So, everyone, thank you for tuning in to episode 98. We will see you next week for episode 99.